All right, folks, appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you so much. Again, guys, I can't believe it. Here we are. We are right around the corner. This is the last weekend for exhibition football and setting your 53-man roster. I mean, on Sunday, a lot of football teams, there's going to be casualties, in my opinion, that people are going to be going, and there's going to be some players, in my opinion, that are going to be out there. And this is one of the reasons that I would say to you, when you see that 53-man roster initially set on Sunday, what I would do is I would hang in there, because wait until Tuesday, Wednesday to see what the official roster is going to look like as you get ready again for the upcoming season. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be out there on the market. I mean, a lot of people that can help football teams. By the way, maybe the backup quarterback position for the Eagles is yet to be determined. Okay? Maybe it's yet to be determined, and it's going to be J.J. McCarthy. There's some serious talks right now about the Eagles bringing in J.J. McCarthy. It'd be the first quarterback really since Marcus Mariota that kind of resembles Jalen Hurts. So hit the like button. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Big Z's going to join us. That'll be at 3:30. And we will have our friend Howard Balzer, NFL Hall of Fame voter. I heard the guys talking today about Lane Johnson and about Lane being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not sure where Howard Balzer is. If this is Lane Johnson's if this is his final season, I'm not sure where he is when it comes to Lane Johnson on whether or not he thinks he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I thought I heard him say he didn't think he was a Hall of Famer at all. And he didn't believe he was a Hall of Fame player. Now, I would disagree with that, because I do think he is a Hall of Fame player, like many of you do. So, again, we'll see. So I'm sending this to Zander right now because we're going to get him on. I heard those guys talking today. So 4:30, we're going to have him on Eastern time. So that'll be Howard Balzer. Hit that like button. We appreciate each and every single one of you coming aboard. Thank you. I will ask you this now. Okay? I think it'll be a while, especially if folks are still grunging on Belichick. I can't imagine there's a lot of fanfare of Eagles in general with the voters. Dude, I think Lane Johnson's a heck of a player. I don't think you don't have the same angst that the Raider people do. You're not like the Raiders, Reyes. People don't look at the Eagle players and go, yeah, I'm not voting on Philadelphia. That's not that. The folks that got held out of the Hall of Fame are Raiders, not Eagles. I mean, you're thinking yourself a little bit more than you are. Nobody looks down at the Eagles. If there's a good football player, they'll put him in. You're not like the Raiders because of Al Davis. The reason they didn't put Raider guys in like John Madden and Kenneth Stabler was because of Al Davis. You don't have anybody like that in your history. There's nobody like that has ever played where you go, hey, you know what? The Eagles, man, we hate the Eagle people. So but I do think what he's kind of talking about is the backlog, because there is. Because look at this group coming up here. You got Belichick and you've got Brady coming up next year. And then you have all these guys that are still backlogged. I think it's going to be tougher unless they change the process for Lane Johnson to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right. I want to start something off here. And I want to ask you something. And by the way, this is just a question. Most of you can't answer questions anyway. But we'll try this. Okay? Kyle. Sills, one of the guys I've been hearing to keep an eye on is Caden Green from Missouri. He's more fit to play interior in the National Football League. We'll start doing that as we get into the college season. By the way, college football starts this weekend. This is crazy. Week 0's this weekend. Southern Cal plays this weekend. USC plays this weekend. UNC, Bill Belichick plays against TCU in Dublin. I can't believe it. College football is actually here. It's incredible. I mean, here's the slate of games. That's this weekend on Saturday. North Carolina, TCU, San Jose, USC, NC State, Virginia, Hawaii, Stanford, New Mexico State, Florida State, Memphis, UNLV. That's going to be a pretty good game. And that's at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. So that's going to be a pretty good ball game. That game right there is going to be a good one. The Carolina game and the Memphis UNLV game will be your two best games. Maybe NC State and Virginia will be a pretty good football game as well. So here we are, folks. All right, I got a question for you. See if we get any more supers in here. Good. All right. So let's start it out here. That's all on Saturday, correct? So it's just a question. So when the Eagles do move off of Jalen Hurts, like every other quarterback in pro football history, Dolphins move off of Dan Marino, Broncos move off of Elway, Cowboys move off of Aikman. It's inevitable. Do you think the losing is going to begin? Do you think the winning's going to stop? Do you think they're going to win more or less when Jalen leaves the Eagles? Do you think that Howie and Jeffrey Lurie are going to lose less when Jalen Hurts leaves? What do you think? You think they'll win less? No. Doesn't depend. I'm asking you. Do you think they'll win less? Or the same? Less starting quarterbacks don't grow on trees. Well, Hurts is not elite. So, wait a minute. Now, I don't understand what that means, Reyes. Do you think the Eagles are going to lose less or more when Hurts is no longer the quarterback? Well, answer the question. Do you believe you're going to continue the winning? Will it be the same or will it be less? So probably the same. Okay? Win less, there's no replacement quarterback on the roster unless they make a big move right after he leaves. So, you think, Coastal, the reason the Eagles are winning is because of Jalen Hurts, not the organization. How do you think the organization looks at that? I'll tell you what I think in a minute. Less win short term. So, you think they're winning right now because of the quarterback. And they're 50-18 because of Jalen Hurts. Not the organization. So wait a minute, Leon. I guarantee you the organization doesn't think like you. So you're going to move and you're going to be a lesser football team without Jalen for a while, in your opinion. That Jalen is a keystone. Wait, I think he's a guy. I don't think he's the reason you're winning. But I'm curious to see what you think. So you believe the Eagles are going to lose more without Hurts. Okay? Leon's on record. The Eagles will lose more without Hurts. Let's see here. He's a dude. Here, I'll ask you this. On top of this question, you think Sam Darnold could win a Super Bowl in Philly? Do you think Sam Darnold could win a Super Bowl in Philly? Yes or no? Maybe. Yes. Sure. Okay, Leon. It's a hypothetical question. You think the Eagles are going to lose more? Sure, why not? Okay. Too much pressure. Too much pressure? What? Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl, guy. You think the pressure in Philly? Dude, the Seahawks had the best team in football last year. They had to beat the Rams in the NFC Championship game. You got beat by the Niners. Relax. No, because Philly isn't built like Seattle when it comes to personnel and coaching. So that means Jalen couldn't win in Seattle then. Is that right? If we're going to use your metric, Jalen couldn't win in Seattle, correct? Sam Darnold's proven it last 2 years. Guy's 31-6. 3-1 in the playoffs. Last 2 years, he's the most successful quarterback in pro football. Making $30 million. You can't say this guy's just a Trent Dilfer. He's not a Trent Dilfer. 2 different teams he's done it with. So, in your opinion, Hurts can't go to Seattle and win. Is that right? Or wait, let me guess. Hurts can go anywhere and win, but Sam can't. So, wait a minute. Okay, no guarantee Sam escapes the pocket and makes plays here. Sam don't have to escape the pocket. Sam's a better passer. Sam's a better passing quarterback than Jalen Hurts will ever be. The organization has a system and history of success and winning lately. They don't need Hurts. That's the point of the question. It's like the Alabama question. Alabama didn't suffer when they pulled Hurts out. They continued their merry ways and continued winning. No matter who the quarterback was, Mac Jones, Tagovailoa, any of those guys. It was an institutional winning and was a process in how they believed in what they did in Alabama. Jalen Hurts was no more than just a player at Alabama. He wasn't the reason they won there. Jalen Hurts was part of a program that had great players. Jalen Hurts in Philly is part of a great program with great players. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Philadelphia doesn't win today because of Jalen Hurts. They win because of how they put their roster together, how they put their organization, who they hire, making decisions. It's about the collective in Philly, not about one dude. And that's the problem in many places like Buffalo. It's about one guy in Buffalo. It's not about the collective. It's about one guy in Cincinnati. It's not about the collective. Same with USC when Pete Carroll was there. Absolutely. Didn't matter who was there, quarterbacking. USC was going to win because of the way they were institutionally built. Howie knows how to build rosters, masking deficiencies. That's right. So at the end of the day, personally for me, I don't think you're going to have any downtick when Hurts leaves. I don't think he's going to have any issue. I don't think that football team is going to lose less or win more. I think you're going to be the same. Hurts is just a dude in the system. He's not like one of these Patrick Mahomeses or Josh Allen's or Lamar Jackson's. He's not one of those guys are one of. And to me, those organizations are not as good. Do you know when the Baltimore Ravens were like the Eagles? When they had Trent Dilfer and won a Super Bowl. Was it about the quarterback? How many Super Bowls can you name over the last 20 years? Or was it about the quarterback? Only in Philly. Foles and Hurts and Sam Darnold to some extent. So, eventually when they move off of him, you're not going to see any downtick in losing. You're going to be the same football team. So I think they're 50-18 because he doesn't lose them games. And when he's called upon on big situations, he performs. He never gets too big or too small. What happened against San Francisco then? What happened against San Francisco when the talent was not as good? If you're going to tell me this, SS, this conversation, it's not a bitch. If you're going to use this narrative, what happened in San Francisco when he couldn't play big? When there was lesser talent? No Lane Johnson. Offensive line was banged up. And you played a lesser football team and lost. What happened? You weren't playing the Seahawks. What happened? Oh, here's Reyes. He'll even assassinate Vic Fangio to cover for Hurts. He'll even assassinate Vic. Okay? Or blame Patullo. I mean, what happened? What happened against the 49ers when the talent wasn't as good and he couldn't step up? That was a letdown across the board. We see how Coach Nick was and how bad Jalen played, right? And how bad he processed. Hey, I'm not just blaming him for that 49er loss. It was the whole unit, completely. But if you're going to give Hurts credit for the record, also has to come in with the losses. He's not untouchable on the losses. Then why do you glaze players like Allen, Jackson, and Mahomes? But the collective is the deal because it's a team sport. One player's not a team. That's an organizational thing, dude. Outside of Josh Allen on that team, it is about one player. In Philly, if you take Josh Allen off that football team, the Buffalo Bills will not win games for a decade. You take Jalen Hurts off the Eagles, you just got through saying it. They're going to continue to win the same way. Same thing in Baltimore. Same thing in Kansas City. You take Mahomes off. Get this. I just asked this asshole, do you think you're going to win more or less if Jalen Hurts is not the starting quarterback? Most of you said in here, okay, Sinbad, will you win more or less when Hurts is replaced as an Eagle organization? I'll leave it up to you. What do you think? I think they're going to win the same. That's right. You'll be fine. So, you think they win right now because of Hurts? Well, what happened with Nick Foles when they won the Super Bowl? Hurts wasn't on that team. What happened? Backup quarterback won a Super Bowl. Eagles production, which is acceptable, regardless win or lose. Hurts is not even close when it comes to that some people just can't evaluate. See here. Right. Foles was a backup. You won because you had exceptional talent. And you had a collective. Dude, one thing I'll give you guys, and I'll tell you flat out, there is no doubt, in my opinion, the Eagles do a good job on both sides of the football up front. And it's been that way since the Super Bowl that Nick Foles won. It has completely been that way. All right. Guys, I got to tell you, I am so looking forward to this event. I'll tell you this too, man. I got to tell you something about Joe Krause before we bring him on here. Joe Krause calls me up the other day. My wife's listening, and she goes like this. You got to do this. You haven't done anything in Philly since King of Prussia. And they've got a ticket on the wall still for you. And I'm like, yeah, I know all about it. So Joe calls me up, and man, I don't like leaving anything. Well, guess what we got going on? December 13th, 2026, 1 o'clock. It's Eagles and Colts. $135 for tickets. You could buy one or two, max 2 per person, custom JAKIB Nation hoodie, Big Sil's autographs. We're going to do that for you guys. Tailgate and Lot P from 9 until noon. Zander's giveaway, jerseys, hats, jackets, you know the deal. Every year he does a great job. Krause's coats. Hey, I love that Joe Krause does this each and every single year. Bring a winter coat, everyone goes, and everything goes to someone in need in Philly. 267-261-3428. We got limited spots left. Joe joins me now here, and it's going to be a pretty good event here, Joe. We're looking forward to it, dude.
Dan, I'm so glad that you've decided to come into Philadelphia for the event. And in the text messages that I've received, I've gotten a lot of excitement around the fact that you're actually going to be flying in. So much excitement that I may have to try and do something on Saturday night as well, because I know you're going to leave the game down at the link on Sunday, and we're going to shuttle you right to the airport because I think your flight is out on Sunday night, 6 or 6:30. So to get you back to the home and get you back to the home front. But it is going to be the exclamation point following our home opener tailgate coming up on the 13th of September. But this November event, with you being in the building, you doing your show in the link, Lot P, up on a riser, big stage, catered food, a grill cooking. I mean, and then Zander rolls out with the Zander Claus giveaways. It is going to be just a spectacular event. And I don't want to lose sight, Dan, in the fact that I'm not selling tickets to the game for $135. You can't buy a ticket for $135, right? Okay. If I was selling them for $135, one person would have bought all 200 of them.
That's right.
We're doing this for JAKIB Nation as a way to say thank you for all of your support. Thank you for being part of our growth. Thank you for helping Birds 365 become what it has become with Zander and John McMullen. Thank you for the Big Sil Show. And even on a much smaller scale, thank you for allowing Krause to do the Green Zone, which will return this year.
By the way, my aunt loves that. She watches
I know she does. Yeah, I know she does. So
she watches you, dude.
The only thing I haven't figured out yet, Dan, is how I'm going to do the Green Zone from down at the stadium at the home opener on the 13th. But don't worry, I'll figure that one out.
Man, I got to tell you, dude. I mean, we're just growing in all kinds of places now, and I've got so many people now that tell me, you know, hey, I watched the show in Philly. I get a lot of people. By the way, you know what I've started to realize, Joe? Reaction matters. We say anything about the Birds. We say anything about Hurts. We say anything. Boy, I'll tell you one thing I've learned in 5 years. Let me say this to you, man. That Philadelphia Eagles team, it's more than just rooting for a team. It is truly civic pride. They love that football team. It's an example of the city. It embodies the city. It is the benchmark visual of the city. There is no doubt. I mean, look, I know there's Philly fans. I know there's Flyers. Sixers are going to be a lot of conversation and excitement around them with LeBron. But, dude, you say anything about anybody on that football team, you get yes response, no response. You're an a-hole. You're this. You don't know anything. Hey, man, I'll tell you what. I love it. I think it's one of the best, if not the best fan base in the United States. I would put them, Buffalo, the Steelers, the 49ers. But, boy, I'll tell you, Patriots, I would put the Eagles right up there, number one. It's been just insane.
Yeah, and I think that's why for maybe the wrong reason, but I think that's sometimes why you're the lightning rod, Big Sills, because you're not afraid to voice your opinion based on what you know, just like the JAKIB platform is wide open for people to voice their opinion. And unless we get an asshole on here who keeps chirping in the chat until you invite him on, and then he gets lost. We welcome, and I know that you welcome all of that, all of that conversation, good, bad, or indifferent. So it's been amazing, but get in on the tailgate. We're over halfway cooked already from our rollout of the event on when did we roll it out? Tuesday,
2 days
right?
ago. Yeah, 2 days ago.
We rolled it out on Tuesday. We did a soft hit yesterday. I'd like to get everything closed out by Friday. Tomorrow's a good day. Sometimes Friday at the end of the week is a good day for people to execute. But this event is sold out, and I am, or it will be sold out. And Dan, I am not allowing the secondary ticket market to raise the price of the tailgate.
Wow. Okay.
And sell this for 3-4 times the money for somebody to get in. So it really is going to be an incredible day. December 13th. It's crisp in the air, but it's not freezing. Indianapolis in town. Big Sills in the house. Zander on the stage, and JAKIB Nation, and all kind of other surprises. I may have a drum line come in. We may have Santa Claus there. We'll have all kind of crazy good stuff going on at both the home opener and the event on the 13th. So let me get the scroll up here because I want people to get in, and I don't do this as quickly as Zander does it. Hold on a minute. Let me just see where the hell it is here.
By the way, folks, again, make sure you're texting at 267-261-3428. It's the holiday tailgate. Only 200 tickets. Got $135. Buy one or two. It's December 13th. 9 to noon will be the tailgate party. Lot P, right there in South Philly, obviously. Custom JAKIB Nation hoodie. I'm going to bring a boatload of pictures in. Joe, I got a great picture of me and Jerome when we were at the University of Miami together. So I'm going to bring that. I'm going to make a ton of copies with it, and I'll sign that. And it's Jerome and I when we were at the Fiesta Bowl together. That was the last time we played a football game together. I might even have to wear the Jerome Brown jersey.
I love it.
Okay, I mean, so to the game, so that I'll have Jerome's jersey on with me there, going and talking and performing with the show. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. Make sure again you text. There's limited tickets left. Make sure you text there at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
And Dan, one more thing. Let me add the most important thing for me in all of this, other than being able to have a good time and say thank you to JAKIB Nation, married to the event in November, is one of the many Krause coat collections that we will do this year, and we will do this one at the actual tailgate. If you have a slightly worn coat or jacket, bring it. We're going to be collecting. I'm looking to do 2,000 coats on that football game day, and all of those coats will be reconditioned and distributed to those in need, men's coats, women's coats, and kids' coats. And I'm bringing out to that game myself, Dan. I'm bringing out 25 veterans who I will treat, personally bring them out, personally treat them to the game, to the tailgate, and give them an opportunity for us to collectively, as part of JAKIB Nation, say thank you. I'm going to bring them up on stage. We're going to begin the event with God Bless America. We're going to have a live performance of that on the 13th. This is a Krause event. This isn't, show up with a radio table, 3 microphones, and give out a couple of mugs and T-shirts. This is a real event, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this is what I love to do. You love to be a personality, and you do that well. I love to create experiences that reward people or provide for individuals that otherwise might not be able to do it, and certainly with the ability to honor those veterans. We'll have 200, by the way. We'll have 200 veterans this year at our holiday Christmas party, which is the following week. And every one of the veterans that comes out, and Zander's there, and my whole family's there, and we size up each veteran with a coat, and we do a meal and everything else. But every one of those veterans that come out for our holiday party get a custom-made American flag in a small gift box that is just a small gesture of appreciation from all of us, to all of them. And that event will be significant. Listen, Krause's Coach is in its 24th year, Dan.
Wow.
24 years.
Wow.
First year of the broadcast, and I don't want to eat up too much of your time, but first year of the broadcast, we're on location doing the countdown to kickoff show at a place called Bergie's Sports Bar in Conshohocken. I'm doing the show on WM.
Any relation to Bill Berkey?
No relation. Always good.
Okay.
Everybody always asks that question.
Okay.
I'm doing the show on WMGK Classic Rock with Bubba John Stevens, the legendary Bubba John. And it's the very first year. It's Eagles Dallas. We're smashing a car out in the driveway. We're collecting coats. And I collect 333 coats my very first year. And John Doherty was there from Local 98, and he said, Krause, that's just not enough. And he jumped in, and we have gone on a run where we'll surpass this year 375,000 coats collected, reconditioned, and then distributed to all of those in need. And the sad irony of the story, the sad part of the story, is it's never enough.
Yeah.
We ultimately will always run out, but we will always do what we do. And long after I leave this world, Zander and my son Joseph and the kids will carry on the tradition of Krause's Coats. Not for Krause, but for those in need, just to keep them warm on a cold night. But Eagles, Colts, and Big Sills in the building. And yes, he's going to have an aisle seat. The question is he coming in on first class, or is he last seat in the boat? Coming in. It all depends if we sell out by Friday or not, I think, and then I'll let you know. But yeah, it's going to be an amazing event.
Absolutely, Joe. What was the emphasis of you starting that Krause's Coat? What was the Why? What? You know what? I'll tell you this. I'll give you for instance. The reason that Morgan and Morgan was started was because John's brother was injured on the job, and he became, an attorney to defend families, and he wanted to do that. And Morgan was founded because his brother got paralyzed with a company, and that's really the central part of why Morgan and Morgan is what it is. How did you start this? What was there a significant moment that made you want to start this?
Significant person, Dan, and thank you for asking that question. I don't often get asked that question, but all done in honor of my father-in-law, who was a father to me. My old man left when I was 7 years old, and he was an amazing man, and he was heavily involved in the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And when I still have the coat that he gave me, a beautiful blue trench coat that was his. I still bring it to my collections, and I still carry it in his honor. But I launched and started in his honor under the desire to be able to continue to give back in honor of what he meant to this world. And I think the best way to put it, so everybody can understand how powerful of a man he was, a very simple man. My father and my father-in-law both came into the world at the same time, and both within a month died at the same time. At my father's funeral, there were 3 people there: my mother, me, and a stranger that we didn't even know. At my father-in-law's funeral, when he passed, the line was wrapped around Glenn's side for miles to get in to see him. And that was not an exaggeration. And his stamp that he left on the world is too bright to not shine every year. And that's the reason why I decided to do Krause's coats. I have an affinity for veterans.
Me too.
And expand it into children. I do all the missions. I do all the Code Blue shelters. On the coldest nights of the year, somebody that donates a coat, just know that they are going into a shelter. Those coats are going into a shelter, and they are being utilized. So, all good stuff, but all part of it. And Dan Sileo is coming to Philadelphia
Again.
And Dan, I've got to believe that in some way, shape, or form, you'll have some other personalities join you on stage. I know you're going to. I figured Angelo. Maybe you'll get Howard down there. Who knows?
Gary Cobb.
G. Cobb. The challenge is going to be, can I get John McMullen to stop by on his way into the stadium? We're going to effort that.
Good.
Get Johnny Mack and Big Sills for 15 minutes on the stage with Zander emceeing that portion of the event. But going to be really, really cool, man. It's going to be a great event. I don't want to oversell it, but if you're thinking about it, text the word holiday. Comes right to my cell, 267-261-3428. I'll forward all good messages to Big Sills. Yeah. All the shitty ones I'll post on. Yeah,
post them. There you go. Post them there. Hey, one last thing, Joe. I'll tell you what. The military has always been something for me, and we have always, supported the military. When I was on in Tampa, obviously that's the home of Central Command. And so, I used to go over to Central Command when General Schwarzkopf was there. Tommy Franks was there, when General Petraeus was there. I'd have lunch with those men. They would take me around to all the veterans. There was a gigantic veterans hospital. I was in the Tampa area. And then when I was fortunate enough to work in San Diego, obviously that's the Western Theater for all military for the Naval Academy. And you have North Island there. You have the SEALs, home of the SEALs, the Marine Corps, the U.S. Coast Guard's there as well. So we've been able to do all these things all over the years with the military. And I'm very partial to myself to, like, doing whatever we can for the military. So that's great that we all tied this in. So make sure you guys end up doing that, please. This is going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you text it at 267-261-3428, December 13th, 1 o'clock kickoff. It is Colts and Eagles. $135, buy one or two, max 2 per person. And there's just limited spots left. And hopefully you guys are able to get in. We're going to have a fabulous time. It's going to be really exclusive. I'm going to bring a boatload of pictures and some other stuff that we can sign. I found my football cards, believe it or not. So I've got a boatload of football cards that I'm going to bring in.
And Dan, built within the broadcast, and I didn't tell you this, and I certainly didn't tell Zander that.
There's Big Sills right there in the back of the card there. How you doing there? All right.
I love that. I didn't tell Zander this either, so he didn't have a chance to kibosh it. But and I didn't tell you that either. But we're going to do a roundtable, short 12-minute roundtable during the live show of. Maybe it's M. Reyes. It's the guys that come at Sills, on a daily basis. If they have the balls to stand up, we're going to put them in, and we're going to do a really, really cool segment, all in fun, of course. We value everyone's opinion. And why not go one-on-one with the guy you're roasting behind the keyboard? Let's put a face and a reality to those keyboard warriors and give them a chance. Now, you might be doing the show to 4 empty chairs. I don't know.
Well, I know this. I'll tell you this, Joe. Every time I get people in front of me, it's a little different. Those guys ain't the same dudes when you get them in front of you there. You know what I mean?
Well, you are, Dan. Big Sills, you are. That's what I love about you, brother. You are the same.
I'm the same guy. I am absolutely the same guy. Hey, before I get you out of here, I want to ask you the question that I asked everybody prior to you coming in. And this is obviously a hypothetical here, Joe. So the day that they move off of Jalen Hurts, do you think the Eagles will win less, more, or the same as they've won over these last 5 years?
Well, considering that I don't believe they're going to move off of Jalen.
Well, eventually, Joe,
eventually
you
they
move
will.
off. You move off of Dan Marino. You move off of John Elway. That day's coming. Do you believe that they're going to win in that era of Jalen Hurts? More, less, or the same?
I think it's too hard to say. I'm not trying to avoid the answer. I just don't know what all the variables and what the team's going to look like when you get there. I know that because of Jalen Hurts
or do you think they're winning then because of Jalen Hurts? Do you think that
I think
this era is because of him and he's the centerpiece to this, that when he's not here?
Yeah.
Okay, so in your opinion, they're not going to win as much.
Well, if I had to answer that today, I would say that would be certainly a good possibility. But what Jalen puts together in the next run, including the new deal that he's going to get, they're not going to move off him now. So the new deal that he's going to get is probably going to be not only a lot more W's in the regular season, but there's probably going to be another Lombardi championship or two in there before they move on from Jalen Hurts
with a completely different offensive line.
Well, that's the challenge. For the first time in the last couple years, I finally feel as though the depth is much better going into this season compared to what it was last season. So
in the O-line.
I do. Yeah, I think the depth is much better. I think the longevity of the O-line will last more because I think the Eagles are finally have realized that, hey, we got to get away from the tush push. That tush push was,
ate you like a dog.
Yeah, they ate you like a dog. I mean,
aged you like a dog.
And you saw some of this. Yep. You saw some of the fallout to the point that if the tush push didn't exist, Jason Kelce might be your starting center in 2026. That position on the tush push is the one that is the absolute most vulnerable to the body. from the snap of the football, and you know that from just pure combat.
Absolutely.
You know? So
well, Joe, I'm looking forward to it, man. This has been a great event. We'll hit on it a bunch of times today, and we'll try to get this thing sold out by the end of today. Joe, I appreciate you, bro. We're looking forward to this. This is going to be a great event. And I got people, by the way, even got Cardano wanting to come down to this thing. So from Sports Grid, he wants to come down. So I said, come on down. We're all good.
Hey, listen, I'm going to leave you. Congrats on moving on Sports Grid to Monday to Friday. The climb back to the top of the mountain is almost complete.
It is.
And I will continue to remind you, don't punch down. Keep looking to the top of the mountain, Big Sills, because the people appreciate it, whether they show it or not. I know Jacob Nation does.
I know this.
So,
I know that.
Yeah,
I know
so
that.
really, really good stuff. But that's a big deal, man. Monday to Friday, national footprint, on Sports Grid. The parallel has been amazing. And all that credit goes to your knowledge, your prep, your ability to deliver a great show, your opinions, whether we like them or not, and just the ability to show up. How many people, and I better get out of here, but how many people can show up for work and do a live show and then do another live show day in and day out and always appear to be on?
And never take days off.
Never take days off. And when I mean on, I mean into the broadcast.
Yeah, well, Joe, I had a rule. I had a rule because you know why? Here's the rule, honest to God. I felt that I let my career down in football because I wasn't always here. I said I'll never let that happen again. I said I'll always be prepared. I said that I'll always make sure that I'm over prepared and that I'm always engaged in something that I love to do. And that has always driven me. Actually, my failure of not being completely focused on my NFL career, which I let slip through my hands, has kind of fueled my broadcasting career because, dude, I am very honored that I get one of these chairs. There's very few people that understand that when you're in a chair and you've been speaking for over 32 years in a chair and you can make money at it and you can entertain people and you can put a show on, that's not something you should take for granted.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so to me, it matters to me. And that's why every day we show up. We don't have layup segments. We don't do layup segments. That's not going to happen. We just don't fill a segment to go, hey guys, I got nothing better to do. Let me put a stiff in. That's not going to happen. So Joe, I look forward to it.
14-3 for the Birds this year. And maybe I'm a little overly excited, but I think it's going to be a hell of a year for this football team. We'll see what happens.
Joe, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you.
Thank you, man. That is Joe Krause. Make sure you guys, December 13th, hit that button there, man. We're looking forward to it. I like that question we asked because you know what it does? It puts your franchise and it shows me a little bit who you guys love more. I'll ask the question one more time. Okay? When they move off of Hurts, do you believe you're going to continue winning? Yes or no? At the same clip, do you think you're going to win? Or do you think you're going back to the 1990s? So, you think they're winning because of Jalen Hurts? Okay? So, these guys are saying you're never going to be the same franchise. Not Super Bowls. You will not be the same when Hurts leaves. Even though you've proven you've won a Super Bowl without him. And you've been to another one with another guy. You guys think Jalen Hurts is the reason you're winning. That's interesting. Interesting. I don't believe he's the reason. I think he's a guy in the machine. I don't think he's he's not the reason you're winning Super Bowls or Super Bowl and going to one. I think it's Howie. I think Howie is the most important guy. Well, you have a winning system. No. That's not a winning system. Like, when you win because of one guy, like, get this. Do I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win Super Bowls when Mahomes leaves? No, I don't. I think they're going to go back to being Kansas City. Pretty decent, but nothing. When Allen leaves, they're going to go through a horrible downturn again like they did after Jim Kelly. Sills, if the Bills don't make it to the AFC Championship game, doesn't Brandon Beane deserve to be fired? I think Sean McDermott was the scapegoat. He was the scapegoat. There's no question about it. He was the scapegoat. Howard Balzer will join us at 4:30. Double checking to see if we got any. Let's see here. Never seen Eli get glazed like Jalen, which is wild. Sills, I might just come through for that game. Awesome. Come on down, man. Have a great time. Absolutely. Let's see here. If we've been to multiple Super Bowls, multiple coaches and quarterback, it's definitely the system. Correct? It's the organization. How many quarterbacks? McNabb, Andy, Doug, Foles, Wentz, Hurts, Nick. Since 2000. Sounds to me like the organization. That sounds like New England. Starts with ownership. Isn't it funny? You have to pick between the team or Hurts. Because you can't do both. Who would have thunk? Baltimore was a better franchise when Trent Dilfer was the starting quarterback than they are now with Lamar Jackson. Lamar, by far, a better player than Trent Dilfer. But Dilfer was in a better organization at the time in Baltimore. Got nothing to do with ability. It's got everything to do with the collective. Right? McNabb, Wentz, Foles, Hurts all got us to Super Bowls. Foles and Hurts brought us the chip. Okay? Backup quarterback and a second rounder. I get it. Jackson, let's see here. Too big for his britches. He ran the coach out of town after 18 years. It's always a team, and I don't understand this question. Name me one quarterback who did it with a bad team. Joe Namath. Joe Namath. Namath did it with a bad organization. It's been a bad organization since 1960. Namath did it. The Jets have never even sniffed that game. I mean, Joe never won a Super Bowl. Joe Namath never won a Super Bowl? Joe Namath never won a Super Bowl. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Why does WIP hate Jalen Hurts so much, Sills. Love the streams, by the way. Thank you so much. I don't think it's got anything to do with hating. Your comment was, name me a quarterback who won a Super Bowl with a shitty organization. I named you Joe Namath. Stills, were the Niners a bad organization when we won in 81? Yeah, prior to that, they were. Prior to the DeBartolos taking over the team in like the late 70s, they were a horrible organization. Okay? This guy, let me go back and read what Prince said. It's always the team. I don't understand this question. Name me one quarterback who did it with a bad organization. Joe Namath. Seals, people say things and comment on things, and they don't even know what they're saying. It's just amazing. Don't even know Joe won a Super Bowl. And now he's trying to change the fact that I don't understand what I just posted, what he put in here. How crazy. And he does that all the time. He does that all the time. Look at this. Now it's this. Okay, bro, sure. You have no credibility. Yeah, I mean, zero. Let's see here. Let me go to somebody who's got some brain cells. Says, why are you so hard on Makai Lemon before you've even seen him play? Because I see a player who is allowing the surroundings to derail him. Take it from me. Okay? I don't see it. He doesn't have the benefit. You can have all the you could continue to give Makai Lemon all the benefit you want. Okay? Go right ahead. I'm not giving him. He has no latitude. Go earn it. He's earned nothing. He's earned nothing. He's been given a pass. He's earned nothing. Sills, would you consider Hurts a student of the game or just overly reliant on physical ability? I don't think Jalen Hurts is that overly gifted as an athlete. Like, say, a Lamar Jackson or a Michael Vick. I think he's athletic, but overly, no. Is he the best dual threat runner I've seen? No. Is he like tremendously skilled as an athlete? No. He's not terrible, and he's way above average. But is he the best? No. So I think he does study the game. I do. Okay? Get this. These motherfuckers are 60 plus talking like I'm supposed to know Joe. You brought the fucking question in, guy. You're the one that said, name me a quarterback that's won with a shitty organization. It was this guy who said that. So I named him. If you don't know what you're talking about, keep your mouth shut. I mean, he brought it up. Jesus criminy. He didn't like because he looked like a dumbass. Wonder how will Cole Payton develop with the Eagles quarterback room because I don't see him getting an opportunity. Getting an opportunity? I'll be shocked if that guy makes the team. Let's see here. Everyone calm down. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the last 10 years. Yes. With one of the best winning percentages. Howie has the right pieces in place to win. Dallas sucks, and we don't. Whatever. Tim. So, again, the question was, will you win if Hurts was here or not? Would you win? I think you would. Sills, with the new scheme and Hurts' height, shouldn't he work on his footwork under center and have a 7-step drop to see over the lineman? I think it should be a 9-step drop over the lineman. Okay? Let's see here. Sills, depends on the roster. When Hurts isn't here, how many years you think it'll take to win? A 50-18 record across 5 years and 2 Super Bowl appearances. 1 Super Bowl win and an MVP won't be easy to come by. Okay? So, in your opinion, let's see here. Let's take a look at this. Let me go back and take a look at something. And I want to take a look at year to year here for a second. Let's take a look at this. There's no doubt there's been 2 14-win seasons. Year to year. Year to year Eagles. All right. I love this question. So Doug Peterson got the job. He took over for, by the way, he took over for Brian Kelly in 2015. So in 2016, he was 7-9. Then he went 13-3 in his second year. 12-20. Then they went 18-14 over 2 years. Then the final season, Doug went 4-11. And 42-11. Then Nick takes over. 9-8. Let's go 28-6. 37. Let's see here. And 2 11-win seasons. That's 22 and 12. 26, 5. That is 55. He's won 13 more games. Let me see something here. What was Doug Peterson's postseason record as a Philadelphia Eagle? Let me see here. What was Doug Peterson's record as an Eagle head coach in the postseason? Four and 2. So Doug went 46 wins over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nick has got 6 wins. He's got 61 wins. One was 4 and 2, and the other guy, I believe, was 6 and 4. If I'm not mistaken. So Doug actually has a better win percentage in the postseason than what Sirianni, but Sirianni's been to 2 Super Bowls. So both guys in the postseason combined are 10-6 in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the last 10 years, you guys are 10-6 in the postseason with Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson with 3 Super Bowls and 2 wins. I think you're going to win no matter who the coach is, and I think you're going to win no matter what. As long as Howie's there. Looking forward to the debate. Thank you so much. This is really cool of you, man. Thank you. I was on the way. Thank you very much to an appointment with the cardiologist and still stop on my car to get a piece of Big Sills with a point no one else hit. How many $25 million wide receivers can win a Super Bowl? Can't wait. Bucking Birds. Thanks. Looking forward to the debate. You're on your way to your appointment with your cardiologist and still stopped on my car to give a piece of Big Sills. And I love the fact he wanted to get a piece of Big Sills. With a point no one else hit. How many $25 million wide receivers can win a Super Bowl? Can't wait. If you think about it, all the big-time wideouts, let's take a look at that comment here. Hangry, thank you very much. So let's take a look at this here. Top paid wideouts. Remember, after they got paid. No, not tight ends. Just wideouts. So here you go, Kimberly. All right. JSN just got his new deal. Okay? He didn't have this deal when he won the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase, been a one, no win. Drake London, no win, no Super Bowl. Zay Flowers, no win, no Super Bowl. CeeDee Lamb, no Super Bowl. DK Metcalf, no Super Bowl. Garrett Wilson, no Super Bowl. A.J. Brown got the deal after, then they got the Super Bowl. A.J.'s the only guy on this list that was a $30 million a year wide receiver. The Saints guy, Olavier, nope. Amon St. Brown, nope. Brandon Ayuk, been the one, but no. Nico Collins, no. Terry McLaurin, no. And to his point, a $25 million wideout. He's talking about Devontae. Here are the $25 million below wideouts. Devontae Smith, Christian Watson. So Devontae Smith makes as much as Christian Watson? Wow. Cortland Sutton. Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's got a ring. But that was after they won the Super Bowl in 20. Jacoby Myers, Calvin Ridley. Now we're down in the 17s. There's no $25 million wide receiver that has won a Super Bowl as the number one guy. Okay? So, yeah. Seals, I just don't think the Eagles think that, or they won't have paid him in general. Joe Krause thinks that they're going to give him a contract extension. I'm not there. I'm not. That guy's not a $60 million a year player. You get paid on your ability, and I don't think he's a $60 million guy. I think he's part of a great organization. He's like Trent Dilfer, but better. That's who I see him as. Guess it shows you highest paid offensive skilled players don't mean you're a Super Bowl bound. Correct. This is what I've been trying to tell you. Highest paid quarterbacks, it's got nothing to do with Super Bowl. It's got everything to do with your ability. You don't get paid in this league for wins. You get paid in this league because of how good you are. Do you not? I don't know why you don't understand that. Jeffrey Simmons, the defensive tackle in Tennessee, is not being paid because he wins games in Tennessee. He's being paid because he's a great football player. That's why he gets paid. Sills, it's wild to me the Eagles say that they want to be a quarterback factory. Get this, David. How can you be a quarterback factory when you don't hire the right coaches for the quarterbacks? Like you said, if anything, they're a tight end factory, and I agree with that. Or a DT factory, or offensive tackle factory. I would agree with that 100%. So anyone can replace Hurts hypothetically. Who are we realistically replacing him with? Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. I could just use Sam Darnold. Can't say he's bad. But Sam Darnold's name is not who you thought. What are you thinking? Lamar Jackson? Well, wait. You could replace him with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold's 28-6. 2 different teams. Most successful quarterback in the last 2 years. Nobody in the league has more success than Sam Darnold. Stop with the Arch Manning bullshit because the dude has atrocious footwork. He's not a top. Oh, I think he's going to be the number 1 overall player taken. Kim, I do. I think he's going to be the number 1 overall player taken. I'm not saying he's going to be a massive success either, though. Dude, Sam Darnold was a free agent when he left Minnesota and went to Seattle. They just let him walk out the building because they didn't offer him a contract. Shit, they had Daniel Jones and the practice squad. And by the way, the reason I bring up Sam Darnold is because he's a $30 million journeyman. Now, dude, it was just a question. Do you believe you'll be as successful? Here, let's ask Ricardo. Ricardo, do you think your Eagles are going to win the same, less, or more when Hurts leaves? You think the Eagles become a lesser organization when Jalen Hurts leaves? Lesser, better, or the same? That'll tell you what you think of your guy. And then I'll ask this question. If Joe Burrow leaves Cincinnati, you think they're going to win more or less or the same in Cincinnati? I think they're going to be the same. Same old shitty team. They never win because they never invest. 8-9, 6-11, and they'll be down there no matter what. You know why? Because they don't build a team. Buffalo, if you don't have Josh Allen, you ain't winning shit. Sills, if Darnold didn't have Walker winning the Super Bowl MVP like Hurts didn't have Barkley that game, does he still win the Super Bowl and put the same numbers up as Hurts? They let that guy walk out the building, the Super Bowl MVP. The Seahawks didn't think shit of that guy. Kenny Walker. They didn't even offer him a contract. I mean, right? I mean, all right. So let's go to another one. This is Sean Mannion. How many people in here believe that Sean Mannion is going to be a great fit at OC for Jalen Hurts? Will Sean Mannion be, in your opinion, the best offensive coordinator that Nick Sirianni has ever hired? Many of you in here are saying that this offense is going to be great. Well, that means I'm going to ask you, do you think this will be the greatest hire that Nick's ever made to get the best out of Jalen Hurts? Yes or no? Sills, it's crazy how hard it is to win a Super Bowl, let alone a conference title. The 2024 Commanders run with Jaden Daniels was a little hitting the lottery. Probably won't happen again. Yeah. To be determined. Okay? So according to you, Flex, you don't know if he's a good fit right now. Is that correct? So, Holly, your opinion, Sean Mannion won't be a good fit for Hurts. Okay? You know, Sills, I saw that tweet you were saying that Vic Fangio was the worst hire of Howie's career. I don't know if I really tweeted that, but if I did and I saw something up there, you know who I was leaning on for this, Drew? I took the player side. I did. I took Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, who I think is going to be a Hall of Famer. Those guys, if you remember right, on my program, I came out and said those guys couldn't have been more wrong about them. At the end of the day, Vic proved those guys wrong. If you remember right, what did Mike McDaniel say? Mike McDaniels came out and said Vic Fangio was a poor fit in our culture. Turns out the Dolphins were wrong. I went with the players on that. I did. Okay? I went with the players. I'll tell you what, I did say that Kevin Patullo would be a turd of a hire. And he was. I did say he'd be a turd. Oh, yeah. And this guy here, so you're scapegoating the black players, drafting my email to the NAACP now. Who are you talking to? Are you aiming that at me? Are you aiming that at me, Sig? This guy can't get it right. He either fucking loves me or hates me. I don't know who he's saying that to. So I think he's great for Hurts because he's going to let Hurts stretch his ability as long as Nick stays out of the way. It's the growth I want to see from Hurts. As far as best hire, we'll see. Okay. I actually like coaching hires, Sills. Gazard didn't do a bad job with Baker. They just got injured between Mannion and Gazard. Okay? Yes, you're aiming that at me? Okay. I'm blaming Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey because they didn't like Vic saying that it was antiquated. So that's racist. Wow, man. It's not funny. It's stupid. Sills, thoughts on the league axing the Pro Bowl after 75 years. I realize guys bailed out and Shedeur Sanders got voted in insane. Did the game just run its course? Yeah, but now it matters. Here's the only problem I have. So you're going to name 88 guys to the Pro Bowl list, and now you're handing out participation medals? How about this, Flex? You fucking relax. So if the OC has a good year, you think he gets shipped off and they get a new one next year? Here, get this. I don't think he has enough experience to be a head football coach, even if they go on and win the Super Bowl. Steele's take on Fangio being a bad hire wasn't out of pocket at the time. Fangio just got outed by the players on this defense, and it could have been an issue with the unit the Eagles already had. I took the player side. I did. They were wrong. Miami proved out to be wrong. We said that. Hey, dude, guess what? Vic got fired in Chicago. Vic Fangio has not always had a good team. And Vic got fired in Denver. Sills, they're a world, if Manny gets a great year, it's a threat to lose him. Is it bye-bye Nick? Hell no. They're not going down that lane. I wonder if they have that stat. Let's see here. Years that let's see. So, here you go. They do have it. Let's see. Rankings overall. Vic Fangio, overall ranking. Let's go down here. Philly. Let's see if this goes over here to ranking. Okay, so here's the rankings. Defense. Here you go. 7th, 10th, 30th, 21st, 29th, 31, 23, 31, 4, 3, 5, 14, 10, 25, 14, 24, 15, 16, 10th, 1, and 13th. I see a couple 30s in there, bunch of 20s in there. I see one, number 1 overall. How many in the top 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of how many? 25 years. He said 7 defenses ranked in the top 10 in 25 years. Okay? About Jimmy's and Joe's, ain't it? Still, so if Hurts and Mannion clicks tremendously, and if Hurts and Hurts' growth in deep playoff run, I would strongly look at how hard I'd want to keep. You're not moving off of Nick if they have great success. He always said Vic was nobody because he didn't win a Super Bowl. Yeah. It's the same metric you use when you say Josh Allen's a nobody. Is it not? Oh, wait. Prince doesn't work there, though, right? Sills, Fangio's like your boy Tressman, great coordinator, but absolutely blew as a head coach. Here's what else, too. You got to remember. Remember what Dave Wannstedt said? The Eagles aren't going to be a bad defense because of Fangio's scheme. They're going to be a bad defense because why? You don't have good players. Seals, can you and Howard talk about why the NFL can't evaluate college quarterbacks? Why is that position so hard to figure out? What colleges produce the most successful quarterbacks? You want to hear something, Wayne? Thank you. Guys, hit the like button. Okay, I want to show you guys something. So let me go here. Let me show you something. Okay. What Big Ten school has produced this? Drew Brees, Len Dawson, Bob Greasy, Jim Everett, Jeff George, Gary Danielson. What Big Ten school has produced 3 NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks? There's only one. Purdue. Here's the quarterbacks from Ohio State. Ohio State, all-time quarterbacks. Ohio State all-time passers. Let's go there. So here's your all-time list. J.T. Barnett, who? Art Schlichter, who? Bobby Howie, Joe Germain, Terrell Pryor, Troy Smith, Mike Tomczak, C.J. Stroud. Who are those guys? The point is, college football programs like USC and Ohio State, they don't produce quarterbacks. Why? It's about the collective. O-line, D-line, running backs, wideouts. It's not about the quarterback at those programs. Alabama went through a run for a while. Stabler. By the way, the run that Saban had versus Bear Bryant, it's not in the same room. Namath, Richard Todd, Ken Stabler, those are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Not Richard Todd, but Stabler and Namath were Hall of Fame guys. The Mac Joneses of the world, the Tagovailoas, those are good dudes. But those aren't those guys. Those guys were prolific passers. Then they went back to running the ball. The point I'm making is not all colleges. Like, if you are a great winner in college and you've got a great win percentage in college, like Tim Tebow, just because you won a lot of football games doesn't mean you're good. He doesn't have, all the great players he played with, he just wasn't a good player. Purdue has produced the best quarterbacks of any Big Ten school in Big Ten history when it comes to a number of players. Now, obviously, Brady's from Michigan. But, yeah, Brian even had Bart Starr. The problem that you get is, you know what? I remember some of you guys in here saying this to me. Hey, Sills, did you see that? What was the kid's name out of Georgia? Out of Ohio State. What was his name? Fields. He stunk. He stunk at Ohio State. I thought he stunk at Georgia. And they go, Sills, he ran a 4.40. And I was like, so what? He will be a colossal bust, Justin Fields, because he can't throw the ball. He won a ton of games. Great athlete. But he stunk. Ohio State in 150 years has never had an NFL player at that position go on to the NFL and be a star player outside of CJ Stroud. The rest of them have been garbage. Same with Southern Cal. They've been all garbage. Name me a Southern Cal quarterback. Caleb Williams? All right. And then who? In the 150 years of USC football, Carson Palmer? All right. It's all right. Who else? They won a lot of football games at those programs with cabooses. You know, I heard John all the time say, well, don't recruit the program. Why not? The program's telling you exactly. Don't draft Ohio State quarterbacks. Don't draft USC quarterbacks. Great. Mark Sanchez. Sure. This is why when Hurts gels with a good coordinator, they move off them. Is it because run it this way or get out mentality? No, dude, they hire coordinators for Nick, not for Hurts. Yes. Brian Hartline is one of the greatest wide receiver coaches in college football history. They got another kid there that he recruited by the name of Jeremiah Smith. And there's going to be another first-round pick. He's now the head football coach in South Florida. I'll make a point to you. When Ryan Day gets blown out in Columbus, Brian Hartline is going to be the next head football coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're grooming him for that job right now. Okay? A lot of the best quarterbacks haven't come from big-name schools, which is crazy. And that's why they're one-ofs. Texas Tech? Who, Billy Joe Tolliver? There's nobody out of that program but Mahomes, so it's a one-of. Montana is the best quarterback Notre Dame has ever produced. Name me another quarterback out of Notre Dame that was worth a shit. Who? Name me one guy out of Notre Dame. Out of all the years of winning, name me an NFL guy that went on and you went, holy shit, that guy was a great quarterback at Notre Dame. Like who? I mean, Notre Dame, SC, Ohio State, they don't produce quarterbacks. And they've never produced them. Right. These bums like Brady Quinn. Yeah, okay, well, get this. So Brady Quinn was shipped to the graveyard in Cleveland, like Montana was shipped to the graveyard in San Francisco. And what did he do in San Francisco? He turned the San Francisco 49ers around from a 4-win team into a Super Bowl champion in his first year of starting in San Francisco. What, you thought the 49ers were good before Montana showed up? That's not true. Can't lie, Sills. When we had Wentz, I was a believer. Dude, I thought that guy was the next Brett Favre. I did. As a matter of fact, I would never, ever recruit a player out of North Dakota State. Like, ever. Okay, Darryl was decent. He was good. We're not talking about A-plus guys here. Notre Dame quarterback Joe Theismann. Okay, so Joe Theismann was a fucking caboose. Did the Washington Redskins lower the standard when they won a Super Bowl with Doug Williams and they won a Super Bowl with Mark Rippon? I mean, and I love Joe. Sills, if you're Howie and you see Mannion and Hurts click with a greater future, you don't at least think about moving Nick if Mannion can get poached? I know you don't think much of Nick anyway, but I'm not moving off of Sirianni if Sean Mannion has a great year. Dude, the Eagles, Zander's coming up here in a second. How many times does Zander tell you guys this? It's the way Philly does business. He's right. It's not going to matter. If Sean Mannion has the number one ranked offense in pro football and they put up 500 points this year, you think they're firing Nick Sirianni? With a 64 in whatever record he has, you're going to fire that guy? You're out of your minds. They're not firing Nick. They might even add another year to his deal. Here's another misnomer. Montana won the first Super Bowl without Rice. See, this right here is another guy who comments and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Jerry Rice wasn't on that first Super Bowl. He won that Super Bowl with guys named Freddie Solomon and Wendell Tyler. He didn't win with all those with Montana or with Rice. Stupid comment. I mean, all right. I'm going to ask Big Z this question. I asked Big Joe the question. So, I'm going to put Z here and ask him this. When that day comes that they move off of Jalen Hurts, will the Eagles win more, less, or the same? What do you think? Without further ado, by the way, we got football tonight, final exhibition week, college football Saturday, week 0. I can't believe that already. College football is here this week. Without further ado, my boy, who's making that studio better and better every single day. I see the gear going up behind him, too. Got to put a picture of that kid up there, you know, the little mom picture with the little heartbeat. You know, you do. By the way, when we got our first little clip of Dee Dee, I got that in my office. That little picture, baby. I got that. That thing is, I got 2 of them. I got one in my wallet and I got one in my office. Without further ado, the man expecting. He is my man, Big Z. Zander Krause joins us now here on the program.
What's up, dude? How you doing, Big Sills?
How's that studio coming, Junior?
Yeah, it's getting there, man. It's getting there. I'm out of cash.
Yeah.
I need to get to the season still so that I can finish it up. But now it's going good, and I had another appointment. That's why I wasn't on the start of your show today to do some to do the producing. So mom's good. Mom's healthy. Baby's healthy. Heartbeat's beating fast for the youngster in there. All right. And baby Z will be here before we know it.
All right. So one last thing here on baby Z. Are you going to aim him as a football player, baseball player, hockey player? What sport are you going to aim the kid in?
That's a good question. You know, I've never really thought about it like from a sense of I've never really loved the idea of pushing them somewhere where I want them to go. You know, my parents are so great with that, where they just kind of, you know, they obviously give you the guidance that you need in life, but they also allowed us. Like, it's funny. You would think that my dad wanted me to be in the same business as him. It never was like that. I dropped out of college. I went and started my own business. I did my own thing for several years. And then ultimately, everything the way it all happened, I ended up back doing. And I said, yo, you got to get the digital. And boom, we started JAKIB Sports with with the YouTube channel together. He was doing radio at the time. I was doing a different media style business in the financial realm. And, so it's funny. I don't know what I would have him play, maybe hockey. I think hockey would be cool, but again, that's more of a me thing. I want to see what the little man wants. And then, we'll see. We'll see how athletically. I'll tell you what. His mother is athletically gifted. My wife is a great athlete. So we'll see.
I'll tell you how I did Didi. I wanted Didi to have a love of something. The fastest thing you could do is run your kid out of the love of something by being over her and overbearing. Yeah. Hey,
that's such a thing today too.
You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. Hey, you know what I found out? See, everybody's got a way to get to the finish line. It may not be your way. So you may not want to go down my path. You may go down a different way. So, dude, let me tell you what she was doing at first. She was like drawing dresses and shit. One day she came to me and she goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to hit someone." And I went like this. I go, "Well, you got a thing called rugby." And my daughter got into it, and she's a star now. She plays professional rugby.
Wow.
And so, but you know what we always did? I never put her in a camp that I thought the guy was a dick. I wanted her never to have the love of the game being pushed out of her, because if you're going to love something first, you got to love something first before you
and I think for the most people, I mean, like, sports are a great life teacher,
Yes.
Very few percentage of people make it to the pros. I would never be the type of dad that's like, "Oh, my son's gonna make it to this." I'm a fucking 5'10" white guy. I mean, let's be real. You know what I mean? I mean, the odds are stacked against it. And so, I think there's great lessons that you learn from it, and things of that nature, competitive nature. How to compete, how to show up, how to be a part of a team, and things like that. But I don't know. I haven't put much thought into that yet. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'll tell you this. I was playing ice hockey. I think I was 2 or 3, because my brother was 4 when he started, and I'm 2 years younger than him. So my dad used to bring me out. I was active when I was young. That's what the doc said today. The doc was like, "Boy, that boy is kicking and screaming. He is moving all over the place in there." I'm like, "That sounds like my son."
Dude, you want to hear something really scary? So Danielle was like that too. Like, dude, she was kicking around. You saw it. All of a sudden, one day, we went in for the ultrasound. The umbilical cord? It got wrapped around Danielle's neck.
Wow, that's crazy. That happened to my daughter, my niece.
So get this. We had emergency. I was on the air at Fox Sports Radio in Los Angeles. Kim was working too. We took her in. They got her out. She had a little thing on her neck for a little tiny bit. Kim had to massage it, but yeah, dude, she didn't want to come out. She was kicking him, just banging on that gut, man. You saw her I want out. I want to get the hell out of here.
I believe.
And so my kid, hey, dude, let me tell you the last thing here. So when Danielle came out, she had this jet black, like my aunt's hair, like jet black. Italian dark hair. Bluest. She looked at me. I started crying. I couldn't believe it, that this kid was my kid. She didn't make any noise. Kim's going like this. "Here's the blue marker. Here's the blue marker." She wanted me to mark the kid. So, because we had to take the kid back where the rest of the kids were, she wouldn't let me leave. And she wanted me to mark the kid's foot with an X, just to make sure we didn't get the kid mixed up. I go, no, I'm going with her. Don't worry. So I went back. I'm back there with all the kids and all this. And I'm sitting there. I'm watching over. So, oh, yeah, I had to go back there. But give me a blue magic marker, dude. I'm so happy for you guys, man.
Awesome.
All right, Big Z, I got to ask you a question. I actually stole this from IP today. And what's that guy's name? Gaglio, G-I-O-G.
Yeah, Joe Giglio. Yeah.
Joe Giglio, okay? He's got an O in his last name. I thought he had a good comment, but I expanded his take. So, eventually when they move off of Jalen Hurts, whenever that day is, you think the Eagles are going to win more, less, or the same?
When they move on from Jalen Hurts, less.
Yeah.
An easy answer.
Okay.
Less.
So you think he's the engine on why they win now?
That's not what I said, no. I just think he's a part of an era that's been so rare that it's almost, I mean, if you could point to me to a single era in the history of the franchise where they won more with somebody before him, then maybe I would give more credence to somebody doing it at this level after him. That makes sense?
It does. So do you believe the organization believes that they're going to win more, less, or the same after him?
I think the organization thinks they could keep winning, but I mean, what level of ego do they have? I mean, if they think that, we know they think they can swap. We know they think they can swap coaches out. I guess maybe with the change from Wentz to Hurts and how successful that was, maybe they feel like they can switch quarterbacks out too. But look, in the front office is better now than they've ever been, so that will give them a better chance. But there's no way I could say that they're going to win this much in another regime. I think Jalen is a part of it, but to me, it more signals if Jalen's not the quarterback anymore, there's going to be drastic shifts in Philly. Like that would mark the start of a new era. Just like the Jalen era was a new era, almost nothing about the Wentz era seeped over other than basically the big four of Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, and Lane Johnson. That was basically it. It was new receiving core. It was new running back. It was new everything. So if Jalen's no longer here anymore, you're talking about
same direction though. Same direction.
Well, same direction, but also from a sense of, I mean, do you believe the next roster that the Eagles construct will be as dominant and powerful as the roster they've constructed in this era? I don't think it's a coincidence that Jalen Hurts wins as much as he does. I get it. People are not a fan of his skill set at times, but
yeah, but I've seen him.
I mean, you listen to this guy's pre-draft interviews, and he's just like, I remember the one interview where the guy's like, "How many games did you lose in college?" And Jalen's like, "I lost 4 games." And the guy's like, that's not going to happen in the NFL. And Jalen just looks him dead in the face and says, "Yeah, we'll see." Now, again, he's lost more than that. It's the NFL. But my point is, Jalen has always been so focused and so confident in his ability to lead teams to wins. Now, he's been in good situations. That's a good thing.
Every one of them. He's never been.
I can't just take him out of the equation.
Oh, wait. Alabama, Oklahoma, and Philly. They win with him or without him. I mean, they win the same. They don't win any less.
He took Oklahoma to the playoff. They weren't a playoff team before that, and they had Heisman winners.
Dude, what's his name? Had been to Bob Stoops won a national title there.
Yeah, when? He was there with Lincoln Riley.
Beat Florida State.
They had 3 Heisman winning quarterbacks before him.
So you're saying that he elevated Oklahoma?
Absolutely.
Dude, Oklahoma is one of the most signature programs in college football history.
Oklahoma. When did he play there? 19?
Yeah, but Oklahoma's got like 10 national titles. I mean, that's a legendary program.
You're looking at, all right, you're looking at like the full picture. I mean, I'm more talking about in the 5 years preceding Hurts.
Okay, I don't know. I think Lincoln Riley blows. I can't stand that.
Let me just look at what their record was. They were what? Jalen was there 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they were 9-1 in the conference, 12-2 overall. They went to the playoff that year.
It's a great record.
2018, they were the same. So yeah, maybe not. Maybe I overstated it a little bit.
No. That 12-2 is a great record. And by the way,
they were 12-2.
Bro, college football though is tougher because it's graduations every year.
Yeah, but they were 12. They were 11-2, 12-2, 12-2, and 16, 17, and 18 before.
Yeah.
So you're right. They were a good team.
And listen.
No, I just don't. I don't like boiling it down to only Jalen only wins because he's had good team. I mean, look, he's a part of that. Quarterback's the most important guy on the team in football. It's just the way it goes.
Well, again, and I know it's different, but Alabama doesn't win more or less because Hurts is not there. They win the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. And that's why, again, I think the question is pretty interesting.
Pros are different, though, dude.
It is, but I saw the Eagles win with a backup quarterback in 2017. And I believe that organization.
Well, so what's your take? Do you think they're going to win as much when Jalen's gone?
Is Howie still in the room?
Yeah. Howie's, yeah. How old is Howie?
I think he's 53. Did I see 53?
He's 51.
Okay.
Howie Roseman will be here at least another decade, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You don't think Howie's going to win another Super Bowl without – that's a great question. You think Howie's going to win a Super Bowl without Jalen Hurts in the building?
It's a good question. I think, yeah.
Yeah. You think Hurts wins another Super Bowl?
If I were a betting man, I probably wouldn't bet it, but I will not be surprised if he does.
You know why I say – here's why I say no, not because of Hurts, because your O-line's aging.
Yeah, and that's part of the team dynamic. But
That's right. Not because of him, Zander, but because the offense is regressing at a rapid pace. I mean, at a rapid pace, you lose AJ. Right?
I agree. I don't think you give Hurts enough credit for what he does to win games.
Yeah, because I don't think he's the centerpiece of why.
Yeah, but you can do things to help your team win games in
Okay.
incremental ways without being the centerpiece.
Can't,
For example,
okay.
I think back, and against college, way different, but you remember the game where he was on the bench the whole year? They were down 28-21. Tua went down.
Title game.
SEC title game versus Georgia. He came out and scored 2 touchdowns back-to-back, and they win that game from behind versus Georgia in the final quarter of the game. And I'm like, again, Jalen doesn't have every perfect skill set, but there's something about the dude. He knows how to will his way to victory, and I think he deserves credit for that. I do. Maybe you're right that there's,
I'll give him credit for this. He's relentless.
He's relentless, and I think he's a great winner. I do. I think he's a great winner.
I think being relentless is a massive thing to have as an athlete.
Yeah, and I do think maybe that's why he rubs some people the wrong way.
Like Deshaun Watson has surrendered. There's quarterback Wentz surrendered, right? At the end of his time in Philly, he surrendered.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hurts is never going to surrender.
No, he's not.
Even if he doesn't play well this year, he's not going to surrender, dude. You know what I mean?
Hurts has a lot of great traits and characteristics.
Yeah, something that you can't see at the combines.
Right.
And that's why somebody asked the question earlier, why is the quarterback position the most difficult position to evaluate? Well, it's just because of that. You can't evaluate.
The question that you're asking is tough because, look, there's always going to be people like this. Zan, come on, Alabama was stacked. Yeah, I get it. The team's stacked. Send it. Can you point to any era? I literally, you can use the 50s. I don't care. Can you point to any era in the Eagles' history where the team has won as much as they have with Jalen Hurts at quarterback? Now, you might not think it's all Jalen. That's fine. That's not my question. My question is there any era in Eagles history in a 5-year window where they won as many games as they've won with Jalen Hurts? I think the answer is no. He deserves nothing for that. That's where I disagree with people. Come on. He deserves credit for that.
Bro, you see Prince? I don't think Landon Dickerson is healthy. Listening to Gary
Prince,
Cobb,
I haven't heard great things about Landon.
Plus, he got dish-ragged by Milton Williams the entire 2 practices and Gary says he's limping around. So, I mean, next year, you may not have Lane and Landon. And you have Tyler Steen, who's a downgrade from Mekhi Becton's performance in 24. Don't talk to me like you got a big-time O-line there. If that ends up happening next season, that means you would have Willie Lampkin, Mulata, Cam, Steen, and Markel Bell. That doesn't sound like a top 5 team to me, dude. Okay, I got you, Prince. All
Look, Hurts got to play. Hurts has to have a big year. But to answer your question, I don't think it'd be hard for me to say yes.
Okay. So let's ask this one here. In your opinion, of what you've seen so far with camp, yesterday was the final day at camp, correct? Yes? Okay.
17 days. Yep. Done and dusted.
Man, you kept having to correct me on 2 days. I've got that verbiage out of my mind. 17
Yeah, you kept saying
days.
that too. The 2 days.
17 days is crazy. Hey, did you get my text message on Howard at 4:30?
Oh, yeah, I did. I got to send it. I wasn't at home when you sent that.
Got it. Okay, good. So, Z, you don't have to do it right now. You can do it after this here.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Howard's one of those guys who likes the link to come, so I'll get it to him.
Will Sean Mannion, in your opinion, in 2026 be the best fit that Jalen Hurts has had?
No. I don't see that. I don't see that. Best fit, I mean, Shane was a great fit. They kind of worked really well because both of them were kind of coming into their own. You know, in a way, it's easier when the quarterback and the coach both don't have an identity because you're both finding yourself. You're both finding what works versus, like, for example, a guy like Kellen Moore. He knows what he wants to do. You're not going to change that guy. You know what I mean? Like, once the zebra's got its stripes, it's got its stripes. So I think when there's a like that fit with Shane was so good because Jalen was finding himself as a player and Shane was finding himself as a play caller. And I think both of them, you know, kind of relied on each other so much that it worked. You know, it's like I think sometimes there's butting in the heads because people get stuck in their own ways of how they want to do things. And really the best way to make something work, you know, is sacrifice for the other. You know, I lift you up, you lift me up, and that way we all lift up together, you know? So I don't think it's going to be better than Shane was. No, I have a hard time saying that.
And I'm going to ask you this question here because to me, I think this goes right down the lane here. You know, when Jalen the other day was at the podium and he said something about building chemistry, and he says he likes where they are building chemistry. And I'm like, you had no chemistry. You didn't build chemistry with Devontae. You didn't build chemistry with Makai Lemon. Am I right to say this, though? Maybe the guy he was talking about building the chemistry with was Sean Mannion. And that for him, it's more. What do you think is more important, Zander? Building the chemistry with Sean Mannion or with the collective group of wideouts? If you're in,
they're going to be there.
Yeah, but to me, wasn't it a problem last year with KP putting those guys in winning situations? Jalen was not on the same page.
This is where the dilemma comes with the way the Eagles are run. Because if
I'd rather have my quarterback on the same page with my OC than my guys.
I don't disagree with that, but the problem in Philly is that it's now become like, for example, if Jalen gets on the same page with Mannion, and let's say they go to the NFC Championship game or whatever, Mannion's probably going to get hired and be gone. Versus AJ or Jalen's still going to line up with Devontae Smith next year. He's still going to line up with Makai Lemon next year. He's still going to line up with, you know, I think maybe Goddard, who knows, Saquon.
Yeah, but
so that's the only common denominator in this league.
Yeah, but when you have a different, we now have seen this because it's been enough of a test, right? Well, just because you have the same guys in the building, if you don't have the same voice in the building, you're not getting the same result. Every year that Jalen Hurts has been a starting quarterback has had a different voice in his ear, right? And all 5 years have had different results. He's never been the same quarterback year in and year out.
No, I know. And that's challenging for him to do.
That's challenging for anybody to do in any job.
Correct. I agree.
Okay, so to me, Z, I'd rather have him on the page. Dude, get us in a position to play. Then player accountability has to take over. Do your fucking job, guy. Show up. Make a play. Go play. Players overplay. But a coach can matter if you're putting him in poor situations. Kevin Petullo was a great example of this. He knew how to draw up X's and O's, right? He could draw up a pass route. He could draw up offensive play. Could he call it, though? No. So when I heard Jalen say that, I was going to kill him on it going, you didn't build any chemistry up with anybody this camp. You've built no, but maybe you did build it up with somebody. Maybe you've built it up with this new OC. And maybe you and him. This
well,
is
it does seem like Jalen.
Yeah, I think
it does
he likes
seem like
this
they
guy.
like each other.
Yeah. I think that's a big deal.
But remember, there could be some like self-serving things just there from a sense of Jalen knows he has to have a better relationship this time. Like even if he doesn't like him, he can't treat it like he did Petullo because
so you think he's got to be more engaged instead
He
of
has
just
to.
being a player.
Yeah, I think he knows that.
Maybe that's what he learned last year.
I mean, and that would be a good thing to learn. But it does seem like he likes the way that Sean is communicating with him.
I wonder also, Zander, if it gets to a point where Jalen Hurts finally says this, hey, Nick, shut the fuck up and let me and him take care of this. We got this here too.
Now, I remember Jalen is he's a coach's kid. He's not the type of dude that would upset the order of business, even if he disagrees with it. That's my opinion of him. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just don't think Jalen is, I don't think he's that type of guy. I think he's bought into the collective and he says that. And I think he believes it to the point where I don't think he would say that to the head coach.
I'm going to give you an example, and you tell me if you think a quarterback should act like this. I wonder if how many people saw this too. This was a couple years ago, Zander. This was on the Kansas City sideline. Eric Bieniemy comes over to the sidelines on Mahomes, and he's showing him a play. And Mahomes went like this. He turned his head, and he just went like this. That shit's stupid. And all of a sudden, he took the headsets off, and he gave him the playbook, Eric Bieniemy, and went like this. And Andy had to come over and go like this. Hey, you too. And Mahomes walked away. Well, Bieniemy that year was replaced. And he was replaced, and he went on that little tour that everyone thought he was going to get head coaching jobs. He never even got a fucking sniff to anything because the guy was a clipboard holder in Kansas City, and he's back being a clipboard holder in Kansas City again. But Mahomes looked at him and went, that fucking play sucks. And you saw him say that, and he takes the headsets off, gives them to Mahomes. Mahomes goes, fuck you, walks away. Andy comes over and says, whoa. He replaced him that offseason. When does it get to a point where, Jalen Hurts takes more control of the sidelines, the direction of the football team, and have to worry about – I don't want Jalen to have to worry about a coordinator next year. I want Jalen to be more of this should be Jalen's offense.
I agree.
Sean Mannion's offense.
I know what you're saying. Like Tom Brady took control,
Yeah. Whether it was Bill O'Brien, whether it was Josh McDaniels, that was Tom Brady's fucking offense.
Right.
He's over on the offensive sideline screaming at the O-line or Amendola to run a route.
Well, I do wonder, it's a good point. I mean, you would want to see Jalen take that type of step forward in terms of owning it. Maybe he doesn't feel as concrete on his standing in the organization as he once did.
And maybe they make him feel like that on purpose.
Well, maybe, they didn't give him the new contract. You would think if they were as locked in on his vision for the future, they would re-up the deal. They wouldn't wait. Why wait? The price is going up, So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot there, but I would agree with you that I think I'd like to see Jalen take more steps forward in that regard. Oh, take ownership of it. Because you're going to be the only common denominator, success or failure. Failure, maybe not, but we'll see.
That's right. All right, Z, here's another one. 2026 Philadelphia Eagles schedule. What will be the biggest challenge on this schedule, in your opinion?
Let me look at it. Let me pull up the Eagles schedule.
If you're looking at a football team, I got one, and I don't think it's really that hard.
First 2 weeks are a cakewalk. Commanders team's brutal. Did you hear what the Commanders writer wrote about the Commanders?
Yeah, their roster's not looking very good right now. They're in
already their offensive line's destroyed. Yeah,
they're in panic.
The Bears, I think, are going to be good. The Bears and the Rams are going to be good. I think 3, 4, and 5 is a good little stretch there. Bears, Rams, Jaguars.
One team on this schedule that will be the biggest challenge.
It's Seahawks, Texans, 49ers. That's the toughest stretch probably right there. Weeks, 15, 16, 17. Probably the Texans because they'll be a tough team to run against.
Okay. For me, I don't really think it's close. I think the biggest challenge on this schedule will be the Dallas Cowboys. Play them twice. They're building their team to stop you. All moves have been made. hired a guy off your staff defensively. They've
Boy, Mark
improved.
Holmes, you're drinking the Mark Holmes juice.
No, I didn't say they're going to win a Super Bowl. Hey, bro, Cowboys have no struggles against you guys. They don't struggle against the Eagles. They struggle against the Cardinals. I mean, those other shitty teams, they don't struggle against Philly.
I mean, I do think the Cowboys always play us tough. I mean, they just do. They always do. I mean, so it'll be a challenge. But
the challenge for the Cowboys is going to be outside of Philly.
They're only tough though if they're in contention for the division. Because if they're not, I mean,
I said your schedule, the biggest challenge. You play them twice. That team plays you well. Of all the teams on your schedule, Cowboys play you better than the Rams. Rams don't play you as well as the Cowboys do. In my 5 years covering, outside of when Dak was not on the field and they had Cooper Rush in there, the Cowboys played the Eagles tougher than any other team outside of the Buccaneers. The Bucs and the Cowboys play you guys tough during the Sirianni era. Would you agree?
Yeah, they're 5-5 in the last 5 years.
Which is, like I said, I mean, that's a challenge. And look what your record is over the last 5 years versus the Rams. What are you, 3-0? I can't think.
4-0.
4-0. What was a bigger challenge? It's the Cowboys. And there's only one other team. It's the Bucs.
4-1. They're 4-1 versus the Rams the last 5 years.
I mean, the Bucs, I think, have a winning record versus you. I think the Bucs are 3-2 under Baker Mayfield. Like, the only teams that the Cowboys or the Eagles have any issues with each and every single year is Dallas. And Dallas, I think, has got – now, look, I agree with you. I don't buy anything until somebody proves it to me. If I'm going to be that hard –
I think the concern with Dallas, too, and Mark said it yesterday, is Dak has been up and down. And he had an up year last year. Like, does he stay healthy this year? It feels like almost every other year he's been hurt. So I think that's a question mark in the head of many Cowboys fans this year. Is I think we're going to be good, but will Dak stay healthy?
Yeah, I think you guys have the Rams number. The only other team I could think of also would be the Chargers. Play you guys well. Every time Herbert gets on the field against Vic and that too high safety, that guy's completing passes all over the place, all underneath. I see, and I agree with you when you're talking about the stretch. See, to me here, Z, this little stretch here, Bears, Rams, Jags, Carolina Panthers, and Cowboys. You know what they all have in common? They all division winners except the Rams. The Rams finished second. Bears won the division. Rams went to the NFC title game. Jags won the division. Carolina won the division. Dallas won the division. And that's from September 28th until October 26th. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right after the Tennessee game, you're playing against teams. Like I said, one went to the NFC title game, and the rest of them are division winners. That's going to be quite a little stretch there you got.
Yeah,
then the back end is going to be this too. Ready? From December 13th until January 3rd. How funny is that? I'm going to be in Philly December 13th. My birthday's January 3rd. You've got the Colts, the Seahawks, the Texans, and the 49ers. So in the front end, you got a nice 4-game stretch. And in the back end after the bye, I don't know, maybe you had – actually, if you think about it, after your bye, you've got Pittsburgh, playoff team, Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Texans, and the 49ers, and you finish off with the Giants. That's a pretty good run starting November 22nd until January 3rd. You think your offense is hitting on all cylinders before the bye or after the bye? Which is November 15th.
What was the question? Before or after the bye for what?
Do you think your offense is hitting on all cylinders?
Well, it has to be after the bye. Shit, man, you don't want it to be hitting before and then fall off. I mean, you want it to slowly acclimate and then hit its stride after the bye for sure. That's a no-brainer to me.
Okay. All right. There was a comment that Vic made that I want to ask you about. And I kind of broached this yesterday with you, and I want to just get clarity with you, Z, on this. Vic Fangio said something about his depth, and he said this, and I get it, and I'm not rehashing your answer, putting on top of another question here. But Vic Fangio was asked the question on who he's going to keep, and he went, oh, wait, I don't know. That's up to Nick and up to Howie on who we keep. It's not up to me. Vic has no say on that side of the ball, too? On who makes the ball team?
No. I told you this. You don't want to believe me. Vic has to put out there who Howie wants on the roster.
Who do you think has more clarity on what player is better than the other?
Vic.
Okay. So,
but Vic doesn't.
But business gets in the way.
Vic doesn't balance it.
I got it.
Again, you just got done telling me that. How great
but
Howie is with roster building.
So, but wait. Okay, fair enough. So business gets in the way of clarity.
Sills, yes, it's the NFL.
Okay, all right.
Was Milton Williams better than Moro Ojomo? Yeah, they couldn't keep him.
Okay.
There's business. I mean, that's it's the NFL. It's not college. Yeah.
Okay. Not every organization is run like that. Okay.
Yeah, but not every organization is nearly as successful as the Eagles. So what's the response to that?
Okay, so when you say that, and I keep asking this to you, and you disagree with me, I think you've left a couple more opportunities for a Super Bowl on the table because of that mentality. I do.
Well, that's, in a way, it's fairy tale thinking. I mean, it's assumption. There's no way to.
What happened last year? What? You had the same personnel you're bringing back just about. What's going to be different this year than last year? Health?
Well, yeah. I mean, offensive efficiency, hopefully.
Okay.
And then
these are the same people. These are the same people.
Well, yeah. I mean, but just because you have the same people doesn't mean you have the same results.
Okay, I got it. I know that.
Yeah, I mean,
what's going to be different?
Well, they need to play better on offense. I think their defense is hopefully going to be better, but I'm not exactly sure. Run game hopefully can be a little bit better, and that should lead to some better results. I mean, if you're not leading the league in 3 and outs, then you should be more successful.
Okay. All right. Will Sirianni have the patience this year that he didn't have with Jeff Stoutland? With Sean Mannion?
I think it was the other way around.
Okay. Well, there was a conflict in the coaching staff.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Jeff didn't want to run. Jeff didn't want to change.
Okay.
Nick wanted to.
That change is going to be very – so what's Sirianni's role in 2026 with this new coaching staff on offense going to be? What's his role?
What's his role? This is a trick question by Sileo. It is. It's a trick question.
What do you mean it's a trick question? What is his role going to be?
He's not a play calling head coach. I mean, he sets the direction of the franchise.
Okay. He sets the direction of the franchise. So what was the setting of the franchise's direction a year ago? That will be different this year. I want to know what his job is this year.
I'm not debating this with you.
What do you mean you're not?
I'm not debating what the head
Nick's
coach's
role
job is.
going to be this year in this offense?
I don't know. How the fuck would I know? I'm not in the building, but he's the head coach of the team. Does he have no role? What's John Harbaugh's role?
He has no role in that offense.
All right. What's Jim Harbaugh's role?
I'll tell you what Jimmy's role
What's
was.
Mike Vrabel's role in the offense?
I'll tell you exactly. Wait, when you have Josh McDaniel, you bitch at your coaches on Monday, not on Sundays.
You're a Sirianni whiner, dude. You're like one of these guys in the chat.
I'll tell you exactly how Jimmy ran his coaching staff. He never called a play in his entire life. He managed the clock, 2 minutes, with the half, 2 minutes, end of the game, and he did the timeouts. Other than that, maybe he would say this: we need to run the ball. I want to run some clock off. Something like that. Jimmy never went like this. Let's run 4 verts. That wasn't going to happen. He got pissed off at his coaching staff on Mondays. That was his role. That's how he coached his team. He allowed his coaching staff to be coaches. And that's why those assistant coaches were never good head coaches. They were all good assistants.
Every guy in the organization fucking sucks, but somehow they're
I never said,
ball the last 5 years.
Dude. If you notice one thing, I never have to say anything negative or
It's
anything over the top, anything over the top about your defensive coaching staff because you know why?
It's the suit, everybody.
It's the suit. What do you mean it's the suit?
Howie's the suit.
The suit. Howie the suit. Howie the suit. And the reason everyone wins is in that building. It's because of little Howie and little Howard Roseman.
Howie does a good job.
He does.
He's just one part, though.
As long as that guy's in the building, he will have no drop-off when Hurts leaves. None. Because if you think they're not
that's a bullshit comment.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that team win with a backup quarterback and no Jason Peters. They're going to win again. Okay. Yeah.
66 win percentage in his career.
Yeah, well, guess what?
69 within playoffs.
If you think Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie think that they can't – remember, Jeffrey Lurie, the Hall of Famer.
I'm saying that's a lot of winning, dude.
Hey, remember Jeffrey Lurie, the Hall of Famer, doesn't believe that he thinks he can –
You hear John defend that? They have a committee. They have a committee.
Yeah, they have a committee. Lurie's wife, his kid, and 2 other members in the family. If you think the Eagles are putting a Hall of Famer into their Hall of Fame without Jeffrey Lurie waving a magic wand and saying, okay, you're out of your mind. It's a committee. It's a committee. Yeah, you know who's on it? Nick, Howie. Holy cow, that's my new name now. The Hall of Famer. The Hall of Famer, man.
Do you think he's an Eagles Hall of Famer?
I do. Congratulations for doing your job. Giving a shit about
it. It'd be way easier to shit on him, though, if he wasn't.
No, he's good. Plus, I love the autism thing, too.
It is funny, though.
I love
he put himself.
I like the autism thing, too, though.
He put himself in the Hall of Fame.
You know, he does that all the time out there. I can't stand his woke ass sometimes with some of the other bullshit, but he does some pretty good stuff.
He's a wokester.
But he does a pretty nice job, dude, with all that bullshit. I mean,
yeah.
And you know what he does too really well? Dude, he hires really good coaches.
46-20 as a primary starter.
Who?
Jalen Hurts. That's all because of Howie, according to Dan Sileo.
No, yeah. If you don't have the talent, I saw it in the playoff game. How come he couldn't elevate against the Niners?
So one game tells the story of a whole career?
That's what many Eagle fans are doing to A.J. Brown in that game.
That's bullshit. No, they're not. Not me.
Oh, really? You
don't take the argument from some moron on Twitter and make it seem like that's what I'm saying.
You don't see Eagle fans saying they lost that football game because of A.J.
Eagle fans are wrong.
Okay.
You think they're not? What, you think they can't be wrong?
Oh, I know they're wrong.
Yeah,
so here,
one game doesn't speak to the whole career. Do you
agree with this comment then about a quarterback on a good organization? So Trent Dilfer wins a Super Bowl in Baltimore in 2000. Or 1999, 2000, they beat the Giants in the Super Bowl in Tampa. I was there for it, actually. So, in your opinion, Dilfer's not a better quarterback than Lamar.
No.
Dilfer was on a better roster than Lamar's been on.
Again, that's not a perfect comparison.
Why?
Because you're just
if you're on a better team,
cherry picking another dude who was a stiff.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts has been the engine, has been the starting quarterback of the Eagles for 5 years. He hasn't been to one Super Bowl and won it on a one-off fashion. He's been the starter for 5 years, Sills.
Okay, is Aikman would you consider Aikman, because he won 3 Super Bowls, a better player than Dan Marino?
No, not better than Dan Marino.
Okay,
I don't think that's not what I'm saying. I don't think you're not a good player if you don't win. But I think if you do win at the level that Hurts wins, you deserve credit for that.
You want to talk winning then? You think Sam Darnold could win a Super Bowl in Philly?
I think he probably could, but depends.
Well, I mean, he's 28. He's 31-6 in 2 years, and he's 3-1 in the playoffs with a Super Bowl win. I mean, on 2 different teams. That's pretty impressive, don't you think?
I hate playing this game. Swap this guy for this guy, and what results do you get?
No.
I'm not a genius.
Because you know why? You think they're winning because of him. They're not. They're winning because of the collective.
That's not what I said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he's a cog. You know, that Joe Gaglio, whatever his name is?
He's a cog.
He called him too. He said he's part of the collective. He's just a guy in there. Not awful. He's part of the really good football players, but he's not the reason that they're carrying the football team.
Yeah, okay. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts' career and have that be said than be the cog like Josh Allen and not have near the level of success.
Dude, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are not compatible with one another.
I never said they were.
Okay, yeah. One guy is
I'm of the belief that Josh is probably the best one of the best, maybe if not the top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
My point is that that winning at the level, winning at with the amount of wins that Jalen and the Eagles have accomplished is too big to overcome and look at it like a Trent Dilfer or somebody that you equated it to. It's not that. I don't think it's that. You don't have 5 years of unprecedented success. You don't have 5 years of the best winning percentage of any team in the National Football League, and the quarterback just has nothing to do with it.
No.
I mean, sure, he's a cog. It's a good system, but that's what you need to win in the NFL. You need a good system, a good team. Why hasn't Josh Allen won? Well, the GM's been spotty. The play calling has been spotty. Whatever you want to chalk it up to. You need a good system. But Hurts has still done his part in a big way. Could he be better? Sure. Everybody can be better. But I think it's reached a level to me where I'm not going to look at the level of success that Hurts has had and dumb it down to, oh, well, it's only because Howie Roseman's a good general manager. I don't see that.
So one last thing before I get to Howard here. So when you look at just individually compared to the collective and him fitting into the collective, you think there's 2 different conversations? Because when you look at him as an individual, you see a pretty good football player. You see a really good football player. A really good football player. I don't see elite guy. But in that unit, in what Howie has built with the collective, he fits like a great spark plug in that engine where he may not fit anywhere else, but they have fit him in that system, his mentality to want to win, his never letting go of the rope, all of that plays into
I think he's an overachiever relative to his talent.
Okay. I think in many ways.
In other words, I agree with you that he's not an elite quarterback from a sense of passing the football. And I'm not, I watch football too. I can see it too. I don't need to be delusional about it, but his results have been elite. And, again, it's a team result, but I do think he's a big part of it. So I think relative to his talent level, his results have been elite. Granted, they are a team result, but, he's a part of that to me. He is.
He is.
I think it's been too much to rule him out.
I have heard you and John talk about Lane Johnson in Hall of Fame. Well, we got a Hall of Fame voter that's going to be coming up next, and I want to get his thoughts on Lane Johnson. I'll tell you my opinion. He's not better than Forrest Gregg, because Forrest Gregg was arguably Lombardi's greatest player. Lombardi said that. Best player I ever coached is Forrest Gregg, and he played right tackle.
Yeah, right.
And right tackles are different today than what they were back when Howard first was putting all of his all-pro teams together and voting for all-pro. Because back in the day, they just would take the 2 best left tackles in the game, and those were your tackles for the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Instead of going, you know what I mean? Instead of just picking the right tackles. I think Ron Yeary was a right tackle. That's another guy.
Philly Reporter this week wrote that Lane, how underrated. Here's Jimmy Kemsky from the Philly Voice. He wrote this week. I say with no hyperbole whatsoever that Lane Johnson is one of the most underrated professional athletes in history. That's what he wrote about Lane Johnson.
That's a lot of cooking there, boss.
I agree. But Lane, I do think Lane, for whatever reason, hasn't quite been perceived the way I thought he would with how good he's been. I mean, dude, he went on like a 4 or 5 year run where he didn't give up a sack.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Now, let me ask you this. You know why also, before I get to Howard here, you know why also that is? Philadelphia has been notoriously a run-dominant football team. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, do you know who gets all the flowers? Pass protectors. Guys who are throwing the ball 30, 40 times. Dude, you're going to get guys like Anthony Munoz not giving a sack up. Back in the day when they were throwing the ball 35 times in Cincinnati with Ken Anderson, back in an era where they threw the ball 21 times. Yeah. So, I mean, the guys who are pass protectors, they are your star offensive linemen. Run graders, they're not really so much the guys that get the love. Plus,
Lane is great at both. But you're right. The Eagles have been a run team. Yeah.
You know what? I'm on a lot of panels for Hall of Famers. I told you Jason Cole and a bunch of guys, Jared Bell and these guys. And I happen to think that Lane is a great player. So let's see what he says. Big Z, we will see you tomorrow on Birds 365. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, brother. Love you.
Later, man. Appreciate it.
That is Zander Krause. Yeah, you know what? I heard him talking about Hall of Fame, and I want to get to Howard Balzer about winning and how that ties into a quarterback and how he sees NFL quarterbacks today. I told you this about Howard. Howard was and is an NFL Hall of Fame voter. He's been for, I think he said since 1980. We'll get him up here now. Let's bring him up here now, Howard Balzer. And he joins us now here. How long has it been, Howard, since you've been on?
It's not been 1980.
Not 1980. What is it?
No, 1980 was the first ESPN draft.
Yes, that's right.
And I know when people look at my record, they get confused about which years is what I started what. 1980 was also the first year I went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame weekend. But I've been a Hall of Fame voter since 2005. So I participated in the voting for 22 Hall of Fame classes. And so it's been a nice run, no doubt about it. But it certainly hasn't been for that many years. I don't know that anybody has ever been a selector for that long.
All right. How do you look at winning when you look at a quarterback? I mean, how are they two different conversations? How do you play that in when you're looking at a guy playing currently, and then when you got to evaluate a guy post his career when you're considering him for the Hall of Fame?
It really is, in a lot of ways, a difficult assessment to make because, we hear it all the time, the cliches in the NFL, right? Well, the quarterback gets too much of the credit and too much of the blame for wins or losses. And that's just the way it is. And I always say, well, why should it be that way? I mean, it's one guy, obviously an important player, don't get me wrong, but it's one guy of 11 that are on the field. And in terms of winning, a lot of times it comes down to what's your defense, what's your special teams. I mean, that the NFL is the ultimate team sport, not only because they have so many players on the field at once, but because you have separate guys playing in all those units. And so Kurt Warner would have a second Super Bowl on his resume after hitting that pass to Larry Fitzgerald to put them ahead against the Steelers. And then the defense wasn't able to stop the Steelers from moving down the field for the winning touchdown. So is that on the shoulders of the quarterback? Obviously, it's not. So that's why I say, Dan, it's a difficult assessment because I think sometimes it can be a tiebreaker when you're looking at quarterbacks who have achieved a lot of great things, especially guys who have played for a long time. But I also totally believe that this whole automatic, and I've read people say this and write it and all, that Tom Brady, hands down, is the greatest of all time ever. And that's why? Because the team he was on won all those Super Bowls. And granted, he was a big part of it, but a lot of those Super Bowls, he didn't play that well that they won in those games, and certainly didn't during the season he did, but he was the product of, great teams. So I think that's the way it should be looked at, and we as voters need to find a way to somehow differentiate. I think I might have told you the story once when LaDainian Tomlinson came up for his first year of eligibility after an incredible career and ended up being elected. And one of the people in the room during the discussion asked the San Diego, he was it was still the San Diego Chargers then. He asked the selector from San Diego, well, explain to me why the team didn't win. I said, oh, now I'm thinking to myself, oh, you're going to put that on the running back, that it was his fault why the team didn't win, whether it was defense, whether it was, all the different ways that you can analyze a game. And all you have to do is look at any game and see how different plays, different things that happen turn the tide to one team winning or losing the game. And many times, yes, it's the quarterback, but a lot of times it isn't. And I know the one time we visited a couple of weeks ago and I got people going with the whole Eli Manning discussion. And there are people who say, and it's not only selectors, it's fans, it's everyone. Oh, 2 Super Bowls, he should be in. Okay, well, he had a big part with those late plays in those Super Bowls. One was an absolute fluke to David Tyree, but as I've said many times,
I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player, Howard.
Right, and I question whether he is. And I've made the point that, and I've made it many times, that the Giants would not have even been in position to win that game late if it wasn't for the way the defense played in the Super Bowls against both times the Patriots. One of them when they were undefeated, and that was on the defense. But when you're picking, and so of course Eli Manning was the MVP. But when you're looking for a defensive player to maybe vote for, and you look at you say, "Oh gosh, who played great?" I mean, a lot of guys did. There wasn't one guy who had 3 interceptions like like the famous Larry Brown did. I think he had 2, and all of a sudden he's a Super Bowl MVP because he was in the right place at the right time, playing zone defense.
Dexter Jackson too, by the way. If you want,
that's another good example. And so, unless a guy has a lot of interceptions, or crazy game with sacks, then you're not going to sit there and go, "Oh, this guy should be the MVP," even though you could probably make the case for somebody on one of those teams. And so, I think that's a big big issue, and a lot of people do look at it that way, along with winning. And there are selectors who believe that, and I'm one. I think you have to be balanced when you're analyzing guys in terms of who's in the Hall of Fame, because
but how isn't it
it's
more about your eyesight? Because if you were going to look at resumes, like when they talk about Jalen Hurts, and I look at resumes, let's pick the Dolphins. The greatest quarterback in Dolphins history by resume is Bob Greasy. 3 straight AFC championships, 2 Super Bowls. One of them, the freaking team was undefeated. You got to put context. He really didn't play the majority of that undefeated season. It was Earl Morrall, okay? But if you use your eyeballs, nobody would ever come away going, wow, Greasy was really a better quarterback than Dan Marino. You'd be like, you're out of your mind. If you watch the game and know the game, you know that's not true.
And one of the Super Bowls, Dan Marino, I think, threw 12 passes in the game. And so, Dan Marino is a good example of the other. I've always thought, as great a coach as Don Shula did, he was so mesmerized, if you will, with the talent of Dan Marino, that he forgot what won for the Dolphins in the past, which was having a running game and having balance and having all those things. And so Marino, to me, is one of the greatest passers I've ever witnessed, that I've ever seen play the game since I've been covering it. They got to 1 Super Bowl, and there were many seasons they didn't win. They didn't make the playoffs. But the Broncos with John Elway never got that far until Terrell Davis was there. And
0-3.
They finally won. So that again just shows what a team game it truly is, and teams win. The other thing I hate more than, quarterbacks get all the credit or too much of the credit or too much of the blame. The other thing I hate is when someone will say, well, he won 2 Super Bowls, or he did this, or he did that. It's not golf, it's not tennis, right? One person didn't win a game. They contributed to it for sure. And maybe in some games a bigger part of winning, but he wouldn't have done it without all those other players on the offense and on the defense and all those things. And so, it always makes for great conversation, but I try to remove myself from saying, well, it's all about only winning. And hey, Marty Schottenheimer, to me, is one of the greatest head coaches in NFL history. Wherever he went, that team was usually number one in turnover ratio, right? And they usually won, right? And his teams won over 200 games, but they weren't very good in the playoffs. And that's been a mark, against them. I remember one playoff game they lost. I forget who it was to. Might have been the Colts. It doesn't matter who it was against, but they lost because their kicker missed 2 or 3 field goals in the game. A famous kicker named Lynn Elliott, I think it was. And so you're going to put that on the head coach? I mean, it's to me, there's too much of this pointing fingers at one person, especially in the sport of football, for why teams win or why teams lose.
Issues here. There we go. Howard, you back here with us?
Okay. Yep. I'm with you.
Got you. Good. Okay. I wanted to move on to Lane Johnson. I'm going to read you this about Lane Johnson. 2-time Super Bowl winner, 2-time first team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, has been to 3 Super Bowls and has won 2 of them. Right tackle. When you look at a resume like that and you see the resumes that you look at for all the great offensive tackles that you have looked at to go and be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, is Lane Johnson a Hall of Fame player to you in your opinion?
I think he probably is. I don't know that he'll get in. I think he'll get certainly tremendous support.
With two PED hits to his career.
And I know you asked me about that a couple of weeks ago, I think, in terms of will that be a strike against him? And when you talk about winning, I think I mentioned this then. I probably should have figured that you might ask me about it again, I'd get the numbers. But I remember noticing it. I don't remember if it was 4 or 5 years ago when he missed some games in a season for the Eagles.
It's and all still of a sudden that way.
And they weren't winning. I mean, if you look at you talk about winning, you talk about 1-loss record. And when he plays for that team, they win most of their games. And the other point about the Eagles, when you were talking there with Zander, is that with all the different things that you mentioned being most of the time a running team and all those things, they also had one of the best offensive line coaches for a long, long time who won't be there this year. And it's going to be interesting to see, how they do. I mean, heck, Dante Scarnecchia in New England through all that winning. I mean, he survived, I don't know how many head coaches in New England coaching there, that offensive line for 30 plus years. And then there was a period of time, Dan, where he retired. He retired from the Patriots. They were still good. The division wasn't.
Was that in a 10-year gap that he wasn't there?
Yeah. For part of, not all of it, but part of it. Yeah. And then when he came back, boom, all of a sudden, I think I'm right on this. They went to the Super Bowl again. And so those offensive line coaches, I think, and those are the ones who don't get talked about a lot, but the offensive line coaches, you can make a long, long list of guys that I think are Hall of Fame worthy, but it's almost impossible, not almost impossible, it basically is impossible to get an assistant coach in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And thus the Hall of Fame created these awards of excellence, which awards assistant coaches. They don't get a bust. They don't get the weekend. They don't get to do a speech, at least in front of the whole world, basically. But the Hall of Fame at least awards those guys because it's hard enough to get head coaches in, the quality, the quality and deserving ones, much less assistant coaches. And there's a lot of great ones, offensive line, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and they're just basically don't even get any consideration. And I've always thought that that's an issue with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just generally.
Here's the numbers. Lane Johnson's not in. It's 18-27. When he's playing for the Eagles during his time, they've won 110 games and lost 57 and 1. 110 and 57 and 1 when Lane's on the field. When Lane's not on the field, the Eagles are 18-27.
There we go.
Does that take – do you look at something like that?
Yeah. I definitely do. Definitely do. And there again, you don't want to say that he was totally responsible, but what he meant to that team and on that offensive line, I mean, we're all enamored overall in football with the quarterback and with the skill players and all those guys. But you can have all the skill guys in the world, but if your offensive line can't block anybody, you're not going to have much consistency on offense. I remember when Andy Reid, when they were in the Super Bowl was against in fact, I think it was the game against the Eagles. And someone asked him about Howie Roseman, and he said the thing about Howie that I always respected is he knew where games were won and lost, and that's in the trenches on the offensive and defensive lines. And the offensive line, especially if you don't have that line, then you have very little chance of having consistency on offense. You'll tease and you'll make plays. It's not like you'll never make a play, but third down, red zone, fourth quarter, things like that, that's where issues on the offensive line really rear its ugly head. And then what happened in that Super Bowl? They went out there, with two backups playing tackle, and they just got their head handed to them by the Eagles. And so, Josh Sweat dominated the game, Milton Williams and Jalen Carter. And that's the interesting thing. Jalen Carter didn't get the sacks, but he was double and triple teamed in that game. And that just opened things up for those other pass rushers who just made it a miserable afternoon for Patrick Mahomes, which he also experienced in the pandemic season with when they got to the Super Bowl against the Bucs, and they were also playing backups at tackle, and he was just under siege the entire game, and the Patriots won running away. So it's kind of always forgotten about offensive lines when they don't do their job. And I have a term I call it collective amnesia. Before the season, everybody talks about a team's line. Oh, they better improve the line. They better do this. They better do that. And then all of a sudden, whether it's for injury, whether it's they're not very good, instability, whatever it might be, if all of a sudden the offense isn't playing well, does anybody talk about the offensive line? No. They blame the quarterback, blame the play caller, or whatever it is. So they have collective amnesia about what they were saying about the offensive line before the season started. And I'll give you the Bears as a great example last year, Dan. Last season, all anybody was talking about, the genius Ben Johnson, and Caleb Williams pulling rabbits out of his hat and winning games, come from behind. But their running game was awfully good last season, which enabled them to do a lot of the things they did. And I would watch a game on national TV, especially, and I'd hear him waxing euphoric over Johnson and Caleb and all these guys. And I never heard him say, well, of course, you got to give credit to that offensive line, because in the offseason last year, the Bears went out and spent big money on 3 interior linemen. Guys that a lot of times people don't talk about. 2 guards in the center. Traded for 2 and signed 1 as an unrestricted free agent. And they just solidified that inner core of that offensive line and enabled the Bears to do a lot of the things they did last season. And yet I hardly ever heard people talk about that.
Man, great stuff here. A couple more here for you, Howard. What do you make of the NFL finally dissing the Pro Bowl? I mean, the Pro Bowl used to be something that was revered, and I got one of the greatest picture of all time. I went to Hawaii when I was in the league at the time, and I got a picture of Reggie and Jerome and Clyde Simmons and all those guys that made it to that Pro Bowl in Hawaii. It used to be really a great thing. They knocked that stadium down too, by the way. Now I guess they're going to select 88 players to the list of making the Pro Bowl. I think this is a better thing, because now you're not going to have the alternatives. And now, doesn't this enhance now being named to that team better than what it's been over the last 5 years? To me, it looks like it matters. The game wasn't really important.
No.
Being named to that team was important.
Exactly. And being named to it, that hasn't changed what has happened over the last few years. The one thing that disappointed me a little bit is they didn't explain it very well, because I had to ask a few questions, because they said, well, now we're just going to honor the 88 best players in the NFL, obviously, at their positions. Well, I'm thinking to myself, does this mean they're just going to have open voting and not by conference? And I was told, no, it's going to be 44 in the AFC and 44 in the NFC, like it has normally been. But that doesn't mean you're getting the best, because if you have 6 quarterbacks, right, 3 on AFC, 3 NFC, there might be that third quarterback in one of the conferences might not be better or as good as that year than the guy who didn't make it in the other conference, because they can only take 3. So I'd more like to see it do all 88. And then the other thing I thought of, why not just honor the all pros, right? That's really the best, because you have 1 quarterback on the all pro team, right? You have 1 running back. And the other part, Dan, is you were referencing it about right tackles. The Pro Bowl doesn't delineate I mean, you can have tackles and they can all be left tackles, right? But in the Pro Bowl, you have to vote for specific positions. Left tackle, left guard, right guard. You have to vote for those specific guys. And so now there's only 31 guys that are all pro last year. But to me, those are the best, not 88 guys. But it's still, like you said, they tried a lot of different things, tried the flag and all the events. But what would happen is, and I said this in a Hall of Fame meeting once, this was many years ago, because people say, well, he made this many Pro Bowls, he did this, he did that. Well, and I said, well, does anybody know how many of those Pro Bowls this guy actually was voted in? or was he a replacement for someone that was injured or couldn't play? And of course, when they moved the game to the week between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, well, now anybody on the Super Bowl teams couldn't play in the game. They were still voted in, but they couldn't play. And now you had all these replacements. I mean, heck, last year, I think Shedeur Sanders was in the Pro Bowl games as either the fifth or the sixth alternate. I mean, that's where it becomes kind of a joke, and guys just didn't want to participate for whatever reason. So, yeah, I think honoring it this way is much better. The flag football, who cares, and all that stuff. But again, I don't know if 88 might be too high of a number. Now, the voting is different for the Pro Bowl. Obviously, it's 1/3 fan vote, 1/3 players, 1/3 coaches. The All-Pro is a media panel. So I even put it on Twitter today. I said, why not just honor the All-Pros, the 31 guys? And if you want to change the voting process to do it more of, more people involved in it, so be it. No problem with that. But I think that it's certainly doing that the game, nobody's going to miss it, obviously, and a lot of the players won't miss it either.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here.
No, you do. You always do.
Okay, fair enough. I do the same thing to Jason and Armando, too. So here we go. All right. So 2027, this candidate is eligible for induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I know you're going to say.
If he had seven Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl championship, he's on the all 2010 teams. He's a 5-time first-team All-Pro. He was the Sporting News Offensive Player of the Year in 2018. Does that qualify to make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Probably would, just on those credentials.
That's Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's who you were talking about. And that's going to be a hell of a discussion, assuming he makes it to the finalists. I mean, there's some other – you look at some of the other first-time eligibles for that next class, and you've got Ben Roethlisberger, you got Adrian Peterson, you got Rob Gronkowski. And so it could be up in the air whether he even makes it, to the finals. And the thing that you wonder about is, does he make it? And does that then impact Torry Holt and Reggie Wayne, who are likely, you would think, likely to be back as finalists again? Steve Smith Sr., he was a finalist 2 classes ago and then wasn't a finalist last year when Larry Fitzgerald became a first-time eligible. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the 50 selectors believe about Antonio Brown, because obviously it didn't end well. And we have that whole discussion about on-field, off-field, but there's also no question that the things that Antonio Brown did, maybe not specifically on the field, although that game when he just walked off obviously was on the field, but the things that he did with his team, disrupted his team, all those things, to me, should be part of the discussion. And that's going to be quite an intriguing.
I think he disrespected the game when he walked away from it.
He did. He totally disrespected. He disrespected the game on a lot of occasions. And then here he had this chance to be with the Patriots, right? And he was with them very briefly. And it turned out that, I think, as I recall the story, they had asked him, "Is there something else that's going to come out about you? Is there something else?" He said, "No, I'm cool. Everything's good." And then within a week of being there, something else came out, and the Patriots quickly released him. So, and Tom Brady wanted him there. Brady wanted him. So that will be one of the, comparing it to Terrell Owens is, not outlandish in terms of, and you can make the argument that what Brown did in a lot of respects was worse, than Owens. So
who do you think was a better player, Antonio Brown or Terrell Owens?
It's probably pretty close. I would probably say maybe slightly to Antonio Brown, with what he was able to do on a consistent basis. And I mean, T.O. was tremendous. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of times, oh gosh, how do you say who's better? There's, I always go back to the great Earl. It's one of the questions I hate the most of anything. Oh, who's better with this guy or that guy? I always go back to the great Bum Phillips, who, when he was coaching Earl Campbell back in the day, was asked once, is he the best running back you've ever coached or seen? And Bum thought for a second, tugged on his cowboy hat, and then in that Texas drawl, which I cannot imitate, he said, well, I don't know, but he's among them. He's among them. He's among the best. And certainly in that respect, Antonio Brown was, no doubt about it.
Last one here. So last week, I had Mike Martz on my Sports Grid show, and he said the biggest egregious thing that you guys have ever done, and it's one of the most wrong things that you guys have ever done as Hall of Fame voters, is not have Torry Holt in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He says one of the most just disrespected things he's ever seen in his entire life. And it really does, he said, shame some of the voters. If you're looking at that guy and saying that he is not a Hall of Famer, Mike Martz is a gigantic Torry Holt fan, for obvious reasons. But
I know
he believes that Torry Holt should have been in two years ago at least.
No question. I talked to Mike prior to the vote last year, and he couldn't stop talking about him. You expect that. I mean, he coached the guy, right? But he couldn't stop talking about it and how it's crazy, that he hasn't made it yet. And I think we've talked about this before, and it's, is it because of Rams fatigue? I mean, to me, we heard it said that with the whole Belichick situation, it was heard by those who work for the Hall of Fame that you're supposed to vote for the most deserving people when it comes up for vote. And that's what it is. Most deserving. The player. Not a lot of these other things. And I know for a fact, Dan, that some of the votes that haven't put him forward to get far enough to be elected is because people think there's enough Rams from that offense on the team. To me, that's not voting for the most deserving guy. It's clearly not. And so I'm thinking this is going to be part of my presentation. And I'm going to say, for all of those who have voted, not pushed him forward for that reason, speak now. Don't be like Paul Zimmerman used to call people who were against a guy but never said anything in the room. Don't be a silent assassin. Come forward and tell me that that's why it is. Because I know for a fact that there are some of you who didn't push him forward because of that. And it goes for Reggie Wayne too. It went for Jerry Kramer for years and years. It went for Cliff Branch. Steelers, Raiders.
It's probably going that way against L.C. Greenwood because there's so many guys on that team.
Yes, yeah. It went against Donnie Shell, who didn't get in until the Centennial class in 2020 when they had additional seniors get elected, and so that's definitely an issue, and so I mean. Cliff Branch played at the same time as Fred Biletnikoff, right? And then the Raiders won Super Bowls after Biletnikoff retired with Cliff Branch. And yet there were some enough Raiders, right? Well, can anyone say that Fred Biletnikoff was clearly better than Cliff Branch? And so these are the things that happen. And I'm not surprised that Mike said that to you. And so, I just keep soldiering on. I presented him now 6 times, and for 3 years. Well,
are you going to do it again? Are you going to do it again too?
I expect to. Assuming he makes the finals, and it would be crazy if he the final 15 if he didn't. But there were 2 years in a row that he made the final 10, the first reduction from 15 to 10, and then in that 2 classes ago, he made it to that final 7. That was the first year that they went to the new process. Now, I don't know if he would have got in. I don't know if he would have had enough vote. Well, if he would have had enough votes in the cut from the normal cut from 15 from 10 to 5, if he would have made that 5, I don't know that he would have. I think there's a darn good chance he would have, because the momentum seemed to be going in his direction, but he made the 7, and then only 3 guys instead of 5 made it. So would he have been one of those other 2? I don't know. No one knows that. But it's kind of crazy that, this, and there's no doubt too, Dan, this will be his, I'm trying to remember now if I'm right, 13th year of eligibility. 13 years. And let me see, 24, it might be 12. It's either 12 or 13. Lynn Swann didn't get into the Hall of Fame until his 14th year of eligibility. And I'm totally convinced that in the pecking order of Rams, because he and Isaac Bruce and Orlando Pace and Kurt Warner all became eligible for the first time the same year. And so now everyone's kind of creating a pecking order, right? And so the first year, Kurt Warner and Orlando Pace made the final 15. The receivers did not.
Aeneas Williams was on that team too.
He was
a Cardinal. He's a Cardinal.
Yeah, he in '99. He was in 2001. He wasn't on the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He wasn't on the Super Bowl team.
Marshall Faulk was
in
'99, but he became eligible earlier because he retired earlier. So my point is those 4 guys being eligible at the same time. And then I think when Isaac Bruce got in, because he was a finalist first, when Isaac Bruce got in, it still got Torry Holt into the final 15. But I think some are looking at it and say, well, Isaac Bruce is already in, these other guys in, too many Rams. That, to me, that should never enter anyone's mind about players from the team.
That's where I'm going with you here. Okay, look, I'm not going to call any names out on this, but there were a couple guys who told me, a couple people, and Mike Martz said the same thing. He goes, one of the reasons why he's not in, so you really have people, part of the 50, and I don't want you to say anything negative about anybody. Still, your metric and how you look at a Hall of Fame, those Steeler teams were great. Those Dolphin, not having Kuchenberg in the Hall of Fame and having Langer and Little, those guys were great. But Bob Kuchenberg belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was on that great Dolphin O-line. He should have been in years ago when the man was alive. He was a friend of mine, and I love Bob Kuchenberg.
Agree 100%.
Do you agree? I mean, there's people on that 50-man voting panel that say, well, there's too many Packers, or there's too many Patriots. There's too many of those guys off that Bears team, off that great Bears defense. There's too many of those guys that were going to the Hall of Fame. So you can't really put everybody in. You can't put the whole team in. Why not? Those teams were legendary. And back then too, Howard, how could you not take into account? There was no free agency. Also, those great players were going to play on one team back in those days.
No, that's why I was saying. And that's why I'm strongly considering, making that a big part of my argument, whether I'll wait for the meeting or whether I'll send a note out in advance. Because like I said earlier in this, I said, I know for a fact there are some, and I don't know how many, but I know for a fact that there's at least a couple that have voted that way. So if there's a couple, who knows how many there might be. And let's remember, when you only have 50 people voting, it doesn't take that many votes to keep a guy from advancing. Like when he was in that final 7, I mean, even if he didn't make, the 3 that got in, well, how many votes did he miss by? How many votes in terms of getting 40? Was he 4th? Was he 5th? Was he 6th? Whatever it was, it probably wasn't by very many votes.
He's better than Andre Reed. He's better than Andre Reed. I know that. I played during that time. I know what, you can even make the argument that Holt is as good as James Lofton. I don't see any difference in those 2 guys. Like Andre Reed, James Lofton, Torry Holt. They look the same to me.
And I saw one selector, actually I can say his name, and he's not a selector anymore, Peter King. I saw a podcast with him. Someone asked him about Torry Holt, and he says, I can't remember a big play, or that he made. I can't remember, that's what the Hall of Fame is about.
I don't remember Tim Brown making a big play either.
But, and I'm thinking to myself, really? That's what you base it on? And I'm thinking to myself there, I would have loved to have asked him, how many Torry Holt games did you see? Right? That's another thing. We, for the most part, we have to be honest with ourselves. We go on a lot of what we see, obviously, what people talk to us, what we know, talking to a lot of people, but we don't, we see highlights, except for a team that we cover. And even if you don't cover one team, right, you're not watching every game. You're not watching a guy for every play, right? And so it's just crazy to me that something like that would be said. Well, I don't remember any big time plays. Well, I can remember several of them because I saw every game he played. I saw every game he played, and that's why they have people from those cities that saw them that make the presentation. But when someone says that, and then maybe that's why you didn't vote for him, that to me is just crazy.
It totally is. Howard, tell folks where they can find you. I appreciate you very much. Always doing this for me. Thank you so much, my friend. Find you on Sirius, right?
Sirius, not as much anymore. I just did some shows for them during Hall of Fame weekend. But you can read me on cardswire.usatoday.com.
By the way, is my boy Carson Beck going to start, or are they going to go Jacoby Brissett?
Well, Carson Beck, Dan, he hasn't practiced since the Hall of Fame.
Okay, that's right.
And so I'm wondering if they might even put him on injured reserve just to start the season and to just make sure he gets healthy. Because, heck, if you're the third quarterback, you're not doing much in practice anyway.
No.
So why not have that roster spot in the beginning of the season, for somebody else until he gets totally healthy. But even if he was healthy, Jacoby Brissett would be the quarterback to start the season. They definitely would like to play Carson Beck at some point during the season, depending on how the season goes. But how coaches are. Fans can say all the time, oh, they're tanking for a quarterback next year. They're not going to win more than 3 games, whatever it is. Coaches don't look at it that way. Players don't look at it that way. They're trying to win as many games as they possibly can. Now, if it's week 10 and it's week 11 and they're 2-8, or 3-8, whatever it might be, 2-9, well, then that's where you look at playing the young quarterback to see what you've got coming down the stretch. But I'll tell you, you take a minute and look at the Cardinals' schedule for the first 11 games, and I wouldn't be wanting to put Carson Beck in there against them. I mean, you're playing 6 of them, a lot of them are on the road, and you're playing the teams in your division, which we know are really good. You're playing the Broncos, you're playing the Lions, you're playing a lot of really good teams during that stretch of time. And so, but I would expect him to play late in the season, definitely.
Do you believe that Josh Sweat will finish the year with the Cardinals, or do you think that he'll be traded at the trading deadline? Say the Cardinals are having issues.
Right.
Do you believe that they could move Josh Sweat? I don't know if they've taken him off the PUP list yet.
He is.
He's off the PUP list. Do you see him finishing the year, or could you see him being a trade line guy mid-season?
I think he could be a trade deadline guy. And the one thing about it is, he has this knee injury. What's the mystery with his knee? Well, he was questionable for the last 2 games last season because of a knee and an ankle injury. And he's had this knee issue. He's worn a brace his whole career, basically, since having a devastating knee injury when he was in high school. And so the Cardinals knew this. And that's why after this is only the second year of his contract, and there's no guaranteed money after this season. But his base salary jumps in the next 2 years to $17 million with a $23 million cap hit. And I think if the Cardinals look at it and say, hey, we're not winning, we can pick up more draft picks, whatever it might be, from a team that really wants a pass rusher, then I think they would definitely consider it at that point. I'm sure, Dan, that they've had talks already with teams. They always say, we're not trading, which you have to say. You're not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, we want to trade the guy, right? But obviously they haven't gotten a deal that they think is worthwhile. Plus, he's their best pass rusher, and they know any chance they probably have to win comes down to having him on the roster. But a lot of that second half malaise that they had last year from the defense was because he was injured for a good part of it. And not enough to keep him off the field, but he wasn't the same. His snaps went down precipitously in the second half of the season, which I wrote about on Cards Wire the other day. And he rarely made plays in the fourth quarter either. I think that's one of the reasons they they kept the snap count down even before he was dealing with the injury because they wanted him to be fresh in the fourth quarter of games. And even in games that were close, everyone points to the games that got blown out in the second half of the season last year. They still had some close games in there. In fact, they were, after the first 2 games of the season, the Cardinals were 0-8 in one-score games. 0-8. And I'll have to say that Sweat hardly showed up on the play-by-play sheet in the fourth quarter of any of the games, even those ones that were close. So he didn't make many at all game-changing plays. And so, yeah, I think that for a variety of reasons, if a team offers them what they believe is value, then I think there would be a chance that he'd be traded depending on where the Cardinals stand when you get to the trading deadline.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see with him because there's no question he had 12 sacks, but like you said, he was a no-show in the back end of that season. Howard, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, my friend.
My pleasure, Dan. Take care anytime.
You got it. That is Hall of Fame voter Howard Balzer. He joins us each and every single time he can. That was absolutely great. All right. I'm going to say this to you, too. I'll tell you what, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and that Jonathan Grenard doesn't come to that room, and do you go back and try to go there and go back and get him? What if that guy does not get on the field, Jonathan Grenard? Do you go back and maybe call the Cardinals and bring him in and pick up that contract? Dude, 17 for Josh Sweat. You paid $25 million for Jonathan Grenard. How about that? Sweat, Hunt, Davis, and Carter as your front four. Or if Grenard plays and you got Jalix Hunt, can you imagine that front? If you're Howie, why not, right? I didn't want the guy anyway. Why? He was $17 million. That sounds like Josh Sweat. He burns out in late games. Dude, he didn't burn out in late games with you in the Super Bowl in 24. He was the best player on the football field. Guy had 2 sacks in that game. Josh Sweat didn't burn out for you in the second half. He was not injury prone in Philly. Injury prone when? Let's take a look at that. Josh Sweat was injury prone in Philly? Really? Josh Sweat was injury prone in Philly. Let's see. 17, 16, 17, 16, 16. That's not true. Josh Sweat is not injury prone. Josh Grizzard's injury prone. Sills, I heard you ask about life after Hurts. If all things equal, I think we would have equal or more success. Howie will get a qualified quarterback to replace him. Fans will realize what we had in Hurts. Hey, I think the same thing, bootleg. If you think that Howie Roseman's not going to replace Jalen Hurts with a quality quarterback, what would make you think that? Every other position he tries to replace with quality players. Why wouldn't he do it at the quarterback? Oh, Grenard. Yeah, Grenard's injury prone. You're right. Sweat's not. Sweat's not an injury prone guy. You're right, Wisco. I got it. We keep Sweat healthy with heavy rotations. He came into the league with serious knee questions. Yeah, but he's never had them. And you're not wrong because he had them at Florida State. If you remember right, like outside of the first year, he played in 16 ball games. 14 games. Then he started in 21. He played in 16, started 13. Started 16, played in 16. Started 17, played in 17 and 23. 24, he played in 16, started 15. Last year, he started 17, he played 17. And here's been his numbers. 6 sacks, 7.5, 11, 6.5, 8.5, 12.5. I don't know. This guy's got 60 sacks in 8 years. That's not terrible. 60 sacks in 8 years at $17 million. Sign me up for that. Shit, dude. That's a bargain. I mean, that's a bargain. Eagles are arrogant. They will sacrifice a couple years to get right. Look at life after Wentz. Well, yeah, they sabotaged Doug in his last year. That last year, they sabotaged him. Front office sabotaged Doug Peterson. Sitting healthy guys so you could lose that game, so you get a better draft pick. That's sabotaging your coach. How many people believe that final game, what was that year? 2020. This shows you about the organization, though. So here, 2020, Eagles schedule. Eagles schedule, 2000 Eagles schedule. Bang. So that final game of the year that season against Washington, after you guys had lost 3 straight and you got beat 2014, you even benched Hurts. My birthday again, January 3rd. You think they sabotaged Doug? I do. That's an organizational decision because Howie ran the roster. You're sitting this guy, and this guy. Can you imagine that? You're not trying to win. You imagine telling the coach, like Doug Peterson, hey, Doug, you know that Washington game? We don't want to win this game. So make sure you tell your player, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it for you. I'll tell you who's going to play. Nate Sudfeld. Shit like that. Whew. Man. That's why Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator now in Minnesota. Because he didn't want to play along with Stephen Ross. So don't think they wouldn't sabotage Nick. They sabotaged Doug. Why would they sabotage Nick? Let me tell you something. If this thing goes, they'll turn on Nick as fast as they turned on Doug, that front office. Remember that. As fast as they turned on AJ, they'll turn on Hurts. This is what the NFL does. Hey, it's not about the players or the coaches. The front office, you know what? To be fair, this is becoming a league epidemic thing. It becomes a league epidemic. Steele's hearing how good Hunt and Nolan look. I haven't heard Nolan Smith look good. Should we even lose sleep over Kennard? Well, yeah. You spent $25 million over a 3-year contract with this guy. Yes. By the way, yes. Because you know why? You had the same ends last year at the beginning of the season, and they were getting killed at the perimeter. That's the reason you went out and made a move for Jalen Phillips. You went out and got a quality edge to set the edge, and it helped Hunt. Those 2 guys were your edge guys last year. They made a move to go get Jalen Phillips for a reason. You're assuming that Nolan is going to be able to play on the other side and that Hunt has improved his run stopping. I think he has. One of the great things about the classic requirement for a heavyweight, Mountain says 1-1-1 fights, and I never took a dive. Was that Raging Bull? How are the Eagles better with the loss of AJ and Grenard for week 1? They're not. Now, they're better than Washington. I don't think, dude, Washington right now, let me say something to you. If the Eagles don't blow out the Washington Commanders in the first week, you got a problem. You've got a serious problem if you don't blow out the Commanders. If you don't beat that Commander team 31-17 in the opener, you're going to have a problem with the Rams and the Bears. You're going to have a problem. You better not struggle the first 8 quarters. You got chopped liver in 8 quarters. You got Tennessee where they're going nowhere. You got Washington, who's a mash unit. Get this. They're not. Because why? Your great, most powerful offense is going to put up 38 points a game? This guy's living in 2022. Blow out the Commanders. That's a terrible take. They're division opponents. And it's the first game of the year. Come on, Sills. So what, 2017? Is that what you're saying? 20-17. You feel pretty good about your offense. If you beat the Washington Commanders 20-17 in the opener, I'll have a field day with it. Because that means you're still 3 and outs. With what? Wait a minute. That high-powered defense? Damn right. Close and tight. It's going to be Sills. Dude, 2017, I'm going to come off the top rope on that team if they beat the Commanders by 3. At home? Okay. That's how the Packer game was a 24 season opener. Yeah, the Packers are good. If Jaden whoops their ass, Philly got a problem. Hey, can you imagine if Washington with that shitty roster beats you? Man, the pressure on the Eagles heading into week 1 with the training wheels OC, it's going to be wild. Oh, my biggest issue with the Eagles heading into week 1, it ain't Jalen Hurts. It's Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion, Saquon Barkley, and Lemon Drop. Those 3 dudes will be the big focal point for me. Lemon Drop, Sean Mannion, and Saquon Barkley. I can't wait to see. My favorite player this year is going to be Lemon Drop. Makai Lemon Drop. One thing I hate is we have the Rams and Bears early in the season. I would have loved to have 6 to 8 weeks to learn the system and get some time on task. Not worried about Washington, though. Okay. Not worried about a division. Let's take a look at something here. What's Jalen? Jalen's got to have a great record versus Washington. They've got to have it. What's Hurts' record versus the NFC East? Jalen's 19-11 versus the NFC East. Let's see what Dak Prescott is. Oh, we're going to talk about Dallas here in a minute. Damn. Dallas. Dak is 37-10 versus the NFC East. He's 14-2 versus the Giants. He's 12-2 versus the Commanders. And he's 11-5 versus the Eagles. Damn. Whew. Shit. That's kicking ass. Sean Mannion showed me at least he knew how to adapt between preseason 1 and 2. Hopefully he can carry that into the regular season because adapting was one of the biggest problems. So is he calling from the booth or on the field or from the outhouse? I mean, right? Kay Adams, my favorite lemon drop. How you doing? Leave Kay alone. She's a good girl, man. And can't get to the NFC Championship game. Dak his ass. Not against you, he ain't. Hey, isn't that bother you, though? Not against you. He don't have no problem with the Eagles. I want him in the booth away from Nick. Looked like he did better in the booth. All that and only 2 playoff wins. Whew, can't deny that. You need to do better. Give me 2 Super Bowl appearances. And oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's all Jalen. With them shit playoff performances. I mean, 90 passing yards. He was great in the NFC title game. He was. And in 2 Super Bowls. Well, one of them. The other one, he was okay. The one he won the MVP award, actually. The one he lost, he was great in. By the way, that fumble he had, you never hear me talk shit on him over that. The guy making plays. He happened to make a bad one. Brady made a shitty one, too, in the game against the Eagles. He couldn't catch the pass that Nick Foles could catch. The Philly. They tried running that Philly with Brady. Showed you how athletic he wasn't. Sills has 2 filing cabinets at the NAACP. Thanks, Sig. More work. God knows. Who cares? Hey, you know what Sig is? Over here, Sills. Over here. I'm standing on my anthill. Over here. Racism. Oh. He thinks that's going to make me go, let me hide under my desk. Oh, I'm so afraid. I don't care. I don't care. You can write letters. Hey, you know what, my friend? Seriously, man, you could write letters back when Jesse Jackson was alive to him if you wanted. I don't care. Sills, respectfully, can we discuss Dallas? I got to take a lot to say about them, which I'm sure you're going to agree with. Bootleg. As a matter of fact, I do have the Cowboys on my sheet. And I'm going to say this. And I am going to do this. Here's who I have in order. And here are my proclamations with records. NFC East. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have. Here are my predictions for the 2026 NFC East. Are you ready? Hold on here. There you have it. Washington, 6-11. The New York Giants improved to 7-10. The Eagles fall to 8-9. Cowboys win the division at 11-6. That's who I have winning. Tell you what, you're pretty judgmental there, Sue. Isn't she? She's pretty judgmental. Yeah. I told you were one and done a year ago. Do you want to buy it? One and done, dude. Eagles will get bounced in the playoffs. Hey, Dawn. Thank you, Sue. I'm sorry, but if the Eagles running game gets back to form, there's no way 8-9. Okay, I agree. I don't believe it. I don't believe in Landon Dickerson. And I don't believe you're going to get 17 games from Lane Johnson. I don't believe you are. Yeah, you had Philly third last year behind Washington and Dallas. No, I didn't. I had Washington winning the division, and I had Philly coming in second in the division. That's a lie. And by the way, I said you were a wild card because I said you were one and done, which you were. Which you were. Wisco, are you the one that posted a video thinking 500 doesn't know what Sills is? Sills, let's make a bet. Name the amount of wins we have to get by December for you to be in a dunk tank by the Colts game. It'd be a little nippy for me. Let's see. Eagles 2026. What do I think your record will be by that Colts game? What will that record be by that Colts game? Let's see. You're going to win the first two. You're going to lose the following two, in my opinion. So you'll be 2-2 after the Rams. You go to London for the Jags game. Let me see. You'll be 2-2 after the Rams. Do you beat Jacksonville? Boy, that's going to be a tough one. I'll come back to that. I think you take care of Carolina. You lose to the Cowboys. And you split with the Cowboys. I think you're going to take both Commander games. I think you're going to split the Giants. I think you beat Pittsburgh. You win Arizona, lose to Seattle, lose to Houston, lose to the Niners. I think you lose to that Jags team. Yeah, I got it. 8-9. I got it. That's a pretty good schedule. I've only done that one time. $20 for 3 balls. Sills will make a killing. I don't know about a dunk tank. It's going to be kind of nippy out there. Cowboy, and let's see here. Cowboys. Hey, Prince. You know what the cool thing about Big Sills is after all the years of having 11% body fat? I choose to be heavy now because of the 39 years of being in the gym. I carried 11 to 14% body fat my entire life. I choose now to drink Coronas. What's your excuse for being a fat ass? Wait a second, Prince. I choose to do this. I had no body fat for 50 years. What's your excuse for eating ding-dongs and ho-hos? I mean, bro, you could bounce quarters off my gut back in the day. I had 11% body fat. And I was 290 pounds. I choose to do this. I know how you do. Yeah, now I choose to do this. Because I was in insane shape for like 100 years. Yeah, 1912. Hey, 1912. Well, I'll tell you something, dude. When I'm 32 years old, I wasn't a fat ass. What's your excuse? 32 and fat. Yeah, no, that wasn't me. 32 and 40 and fat, that wasn't me. Ain't that right, baby? Well, the guy she married, I ate. But, yeah. Are you crazy? Sills, well, you know, I'm surprised. Bro, this is like 5 years something here for me. I'm enjoying life. I like eating, having a good time drinking beers. Sills, so these guys arrested a billionaire and bragging. Some real estate guy, not the smartest apples and with badge. I mean, what percent of the team has never happened? Are you talking about the owner that got arrested for a $140 hooker? Think that makes sense. Listen, I'm not the smartest dude on the planet, but I know this. Like I said, I would think of somebody, like if I called for a hooker, it'd be Prince on the other end, waiting with a camera. Got you, Sills. I'd be so afraid. I couldn't walk into a hotel. Hey, are you her or him? How do you know he doesn't have a cannoli? I'm not doing that shit. Hey, I'd like you to meet Hanky. Who's Hanky? Well, it's a chick with a, you know what? Hey, man, that's some sausage you got there. Yeah, not me, man. I got you, bro. I'm good, Prince. We're good, man. I love that for you. I want you to have 5 more years. No, I got it, dude. I got you, man. You know what? Zander's right too. I got it. I got it. I got to lose weight. I got to. It's all good. By the way, I'm going to lose weight by the time I get to December 13th. Yeah, I'm promising you I'm going to. I'm working on it now. I started yesterday. Me watching what I eat is stupid. Okay? It is. So I think us and the Cowboys will be battling for number 1 in the NFC East. We will be within a game or so of each other. I do think over Dak's career, this is the best chance to go deep. He has no excuse this year. I agree. I think those 18 and 19 teams, when Zeke Elliott was running the football well, and this team might actually be his best team. You know what I mean? Dude, if Dak doesn't do it this year, it's over. It's time to move on. He's got a good football. I think he's got – I'll take that back. I think he's got a good football roster. Okay? I think he's got a good football roster. I don't know if he's got a good football team yet. I have no idea if he's got a good football team. I think Dallas has done a lot. And I said it to Zander. Of all the teams on your schedule, the team that plays you, look, here. Do the Rams play you well? Kind of, but not really. Giants, Washington, you're better. The Bears kick the shit out of you doing something you don't do well. You know what the problem that you have with the Bears? I'm going to show you this here. And here's my here's why you're not going to win this Bears game. Until you can prove to me you could stop the run. You didn't prove it one time last year that you could stop the run. You got ran over. And what did the Bears finish last year running the ball? What was the rush offense for Chicago running the ball last year? Pretty much the same personnel coming back. What was their rushing offense? The Bears were third. They ran the ball for 144 yards. Dude, you're not a very good run team. Until you proved there's two things. This year, your football team's got to show me. You eliminate the 3 and outs on offense, and you can stop the run. Every football team that you lost against last year ran the ball for over 150 yards and 5 yards a carry. I mean, you think there's a coincidence to that? All 6 losses, not counting the Washington game where you sat your guys. All those teams ran the ball down your throat. Cowboys aren't worried about your offense. We just have to make sure to control the clock and finish drives against your great defense. Hey, this is what, and here's your problem, DFW, going against that Eagle defense. Okay? Do you have enough in the red zone to score touchdowns and not field goals? I thought the problem with your team, I thought you were great from 20 to 20. But when you got into the red zone, because you didn't have a big-time run game, it was good, but not a big-time run game. I think that hurt you. You weren't able to finish games off. That's why teams came back on you. And that's why games you lost field position and you lost the clock. Many of those losses you had a year ago, you were the better football team, but they had the right formula for you. Going against that Eagle defense, Hoss, if you can't win first and second down, and you got to run the ball, you're not going to win that game. If you can run it, and Dak can be efficient, and you win time of possession, you'll beat him. You have the talent to beat him. And I think Schottenheimer's a pretty decent play caller. I was pretty impressed with him last year. I think he's a pretty good play caller. And that defense on the other side, they've got to own the Eagles' 2 guards and center like they did in those 2 games. In the opener and in the game you came back 21 down. I thought the Cowboys won the line of scrimmage in both games last year. I thought they were better than Philly. And I thought they won both. I thought they won both games up front. I agree they have a great team on paper. Okay? Give you a stat the other day, 44-1 against 500 teams. That's even with Cowboys having top 10 defenses. We'll see if Dak chokes. It's over for him. Dude, I agree. In their most recent matchup, November 23rd, 2025, the Cowboys recorded 125 yards rushing compared to the Eagles' 63 yards. Well, yeah, they beat them up front. That's correct. Yes. Seals, they were, a lot of teams went up front, which is rare. I'm assuming, yes, Carter being back will be a factor. Yes. Okay. Yes. But then again, dude, like what there's certain times, even when healthy, Jalen Carter gets high and he gets drilled by common dudes. Like, he's not great every play. Jerome did that. It's not uncommon to see that. Like, here's Jalen Carter to me. Jalen Carter will do this. 10 plays. 7 of them are, 4 of them are exceptional. The other 3 are good. And then there's 3 that he gets killed. Like, in a 10-play series, he's not great. He gets killed. 4 of those are going to be where he blows a team up. 3 are going to be just better than the guy. And the other ones, I think he gets lazy. But that's not uncommon. Cowboys competing and being proud of a regular season games is so 2000 thinking. Eagles moved on. How you do it when it counts is in the playoffs. Yes. AZ, I agree. I think standards have fallen, like in Pittsburgh. Being 500 in Pittsburgh is a thing now. If you're 500 in Pittsburgh, that's a great thing. Winning Lombardi trophies is not a thing any longer. Their standard has fallen. Like, listen, when I was doing my radio show in Tampa, you should hear Buck fans talking. Well, if we win the NFC South, I'm like, the NFC South? I think it's harder to win the SEC East than it is to win the NFC South. I'm like, you just listen to some fan bases. Well, if we get to 500, get to 500. My God almighty. It's like rooting for your college team to go to the Sun Bowl. Rooting to go to the Sun Bowl? I got to tell you guys this. This was so Sileo. So I did a Zoom conference call with the team in the Miami Hurricane team. And Mario was laughing his ass off. So they got a bunch of us. And I'm there. My turn came up. I was after Highsmith. So Dan Sileo, everyone knew, they see my shit all. Anyway, so I start talking to the team. I go, hey, congratulations to you guys on like almost winning it. And you can hear the guys in the room go, I said, no. I said, well, let me hook you up on something. After we got beat in 1986 and we got beat in the Fiesta Bowl, I was the most miserable dude that you could possibly be in the spring. I was so pissed off. Anytime somebody came in front of me, I was so mad that I didn't care what anybody said, that we lost. Every practice I went out there, I wanted to kill somebody, and I did. I took it out on everybody. And Mario starts laughing. I go, so when people start putting a microphone in front of you and telling you how great you guys are, I want you to know this. You ain't accomplished dick. What? You showed up at the bar exam? And you took the test and you failed? Congratulations. You're not a lawyer. You're not champions. You ain't champions of dick. almost getting there doesn't count. Crossing the finish line, that's why I got this tattoo. Crossing the finish line matters. These guys are all like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, what do you mean, yeah? Anybody put a microphone in front of me back then? I don't even know how I got into the media, to be quite frank. Because we'd have guys from the Miami Herald or local television stations. How you feeling, Dan? How the spring went and how you guys are doing? And I'm like, how do you think I feel? We gave up 150 yards in the championship game and 6 first downs and we lost. How do you think I feel heading into this year? And the guy's like, well, I go, I feel shitty. And I'm going to take it out on every guy I play against. And I'm going to take it out on everybody I talk to. And if you happen to be in the way, you're going to get run over too. So at the end, Mario goes, that's my guy. He calls me up later and he goes, those guys were just howling going. That's why that team was mania. That's why those teams were crazy back then. We were crazy. Crazy about winning, crazy about how we won, crazy about how it looked. I can't tell you how insulting we used to be if you ran. I think we finished the year that year, number 1 in defense against the run. I think I got it right here. I think if I'm not mistaken, here it is. We gave up 3 first downs rushing that year in 12 games. 3 first downs rushing. 3 first downs the entire year rushing. You didn't get first downs on us. I think it was Florida State that got a first down. We were like, I remember Jerome looking over at Butch. You mother, how the fuck do you just? What do we do? I'm like, Jerome, gave up 3 first downs all year. Fuck that. And then they were like 1.9 yards a game that people ran the ball on us. And Jerome, we would walk off the field. We were just crazy guys, man. Yeah, SS gave up 1.9 yards per rush and 3 first downs for 12 games. I think we only gave up 9 points a game. I think it was 9.8 points a game that year. 9.8. 3 first downs running the ball on us. I think we only gave up 6 first downs throwing on us. We were just stupid great. Bunch of maniacs too, man. Just crazy dudes. Those guys were all awesome. I'm interested to see if that's the case this year. I think this will be the best year yet. Best physical shape of his career. Typically, those 4 plays a drive would be drive killers. We need that. Yeah. Hey, bootleg. Jerome did the same shit too. He'd take 3 plays off. He would take 3 plays off, and you're like, come on, man. But those other plays terrorize people. Okay? He terrorized people. Would just annihilate people. Hey, M. Reyes' Notre Dame team, every time they saw us, they would hide. Oh, my God. It's the Big Bad Hurricanes. Oh, them Notre Dame guys used to hide when they saw us. They used to run for their life. Hey, Reyes, what about that? Those chicken shit cowards up there at South Bend used to run from us. And by the way, since 1985, we're 8-5 against that shit team. Hey, every time they saw us, ooh, it was the Notre Dame guys. Oh, it's my God, it's the Hurricanes. No, not those guys. We had to kick the shit out of that team. 57-7, 24-0. That fried chicken. Let's see. I was born in the championship year of our Lord, 1988. Anything before that basically never mattered. How about this? Ever since 1988, that football team ain't won dick. There you have it. The year of his Lord, 1988. That's the last time they were totally relevant. Prior to that was 1973. So in 53 years, Notre Dame's won 2 titles, 88, 1973. Congratulations. It's quite a run. Hey, yeah. Back in 1973 and 1988 is the last time you were relevant. Shit, dude. Miami's at least won a national title in the 2000s. How come you haven't? Miami won titles in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. How come you haven't? Notre Dame. Okay? Notre Dame. I bet nobody remembers anybody that was on that 88 Notre Dame team or who you beat. You know who they beat? They beat a shitty West Virginia team. I think in the Fiesta Bowl, actually. Notre Dame. Roadkill. How would anyone rate GM Howie Roseman's offseason? Great question. Free agency, draft class, trade acquisitions. Woo! Paul with the classic. How's that Jonathan Grenard deal doing? Hey, the AJ Epineza and the Ebikadi deal look pretty decent. Who else? Jonathan Grenard. That's $25 million per, right? 3 years. Let's see. The draft class. Eli Stowers and Lemon Drop. Whew. Hey, Paul. I know you're an Eagle fan too, but that's some good fodder for my social media page. Oh, absolutely. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, guys, do me a favor. We have not done this. Last time we did it when Joe Krause was on. So do me a favor and make sure you send a text to Joe Krause here. It's the holiday tailgate party, Eagles and Colts, Sunday, December 13th, 2026, 1 o'clock kickoff, $135 per ticket. You could buy one or two, max 2 per person. Okay? Game ticket, Eagles versus the Colts, custom JAKIB Nation hoodie, Big Sil's autograph per reservation. The tailgate in Lot P, 9 to noon. Big Z's going to be out there with his famous giveaways, jerseys, hats, jackets. Can't wait to see him, man. That's going to be great. Loved it last time we saw him here. He'll have all that there for you as well. Be up there on the podium with us. Krause's coat collection. Hey, I love the story of the how that thing started with his father-in-law. I love that. That was a great story. Plus all the military guys that are going to be out there as well. Make sure you text 267-261-3428. That's 267-261-3428. From what I understand, there's just a few left for you to get out there. So make sure you do that. 267-261-3428. Appreciate you doing that, guys. All right, let's pay some bills here. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, and it's because they win. Folks, I told you about the family in Pennsylvania with being offered $650K. They got offered nearly $30 million in settlement. Or the family down in Florida that was offered $350K. They got $12 million in settlement. No company like it. If you've ever been injured, trust me when I tell you, they defend families across this great country. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Mm-hmm.
Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley...
Had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Football Friday. How's that for you? Last one of the preseason as we get ready for Cutdown Day on Sunday. Yeah. Hey, by the way, don't forget tomorrow, my Sports Grid show too. It's on noon to 1. So make sure you check that out prior to this show here. And we're going to be going around the circle with both shows. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for what we're going to do on December 13th too. Make sure you get your tickets too for that. We appreciate that. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.